What's up, everybody? This is NFL Network's Adam Ray.
This is Olin Cruz.
This is Matt Waldman.
This is Chris Zork from your Chicago Bears.
I'm Dionne Miller.
Dan Weaver.
Hey, my name is Rashad Whitfield.
I'm Courtney Cronin.
Hey, this is David Kaplan. Listen to me. You want to learn football? Listen to my guys, Phil and Shayne.
Shayne and Phil.
Shayne and Phil. Oh, Phil.
On the Tape Never Lies Network.
On the Tape Never Lies Network.
Tape Never Lies Network.
The Tape Never Lies Network.
Tape Never Lies Network, home of the greatest Chicago Bears fans on earth.
You guys know the tape never lies.
Give me some fucking names.
Tape Never Lies Network, man.
Hey, Tape Never Lies. We're here at Bears Camp with Alan. If you want the real deal, listen to this channel. Go to this channel. Tape Never Lies. You know.
The Tape Never Lies.
Yes, keeping it 100. Keeping it 100. Woo! You got to bring it, baby. The Tape Never Lies Network. TTNL. The Tape Never Lies Network. The best Chicago Bears coverage on the planet. Draft Dr. Phil, Shayne the smartest man.
Difference between being the most talented and being the best. They didn't say that he's the best offensive lineman. Does he have the most potential? Yes.
Never win with potential. It's up to the Chicago Bears to tap into this and get Teven to believe in Teven. That's the job of the coach.
Fucks if Justin Fields threw that ball.
It's the ultimate,
you know what I mean?
coddling, man. There's too much fucking coddling going on, and you know, just talking about Phil talking about the intimacy of it, like with the connection with the fans, right? Alex was sharing with me and Bratcher about how he would just bike ride over down to Bourbonnais.
Understand that the root of the problem is the elitist way with which you handle training camp. It's the only time my two sons that are 8 years old will be able to stand 4 feet from their idol.
I think it goes, like I think Shayne's mentioned it before, it's more up top, I think, with the secretive and not streaming it on YouTube. Because like you said, right. I've watched New England's on YouTube before. They stream it live.
They have this motherfucker on pup list and he ain't hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
He slips up. It's like,
out there.
Yeah, I'm fucking waiting for my deal.
Roquan's doing pull-ups on the
Do some jumping jacks, Roquan.
No one's sitting there dancing around to the music. They're focused on the drills and doing it right. The other thing I noticed, everyone's swarming to the ball. I tell you what, man. Treston Ebner is the real deal too, man.
Yeah.
Here, bring her in.
Barb!
I figured you needed a little shake up on a Sunday night. Hey, Bears. Not much, waiting for the Bears to start playing.
Yeah, we all are waiting. Obviously, your son and the boys were all out at camp on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
They had a blast out there, and it was thanks to your son.
Don't
did not do that.
You know where the weight room is? I'll check it out. Tape Never Lies.
I was listening to the No Name podcast with Olin Cruz and J Mack, and they had our guy Rashid Davis. You could say whatever the fuck you want about Olin Cruz and all that, and everyone could have a fucking cheer squad, blog boy, cheerleader, pom-pom show, but not me, because I think it's a loss for the city. I think it's a loss for the Bears, because one thing about Olin was that he kept it 100 on the national stage when it came to the Bears. They're every day now, right?
No, I'm sticking to just the weekends. I'll probably slide into a family fest at Soldier Field.
You'll be sliding into your family soon, too.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he didn't.
The Tape Never Lies.
TTL, the Tape Never Lies. Tape Never Lies. Are you friends with Adam Ray?
I am.
Come on.
I tell you what, man.
And that handlebar mustache is the real deal, man.
No, my biggest takeaway from camp definitely is don't let fucking Allen back.
Tape Never Lies Network. Maybe tune in.
All right, so we're out here at Chicago Bears training camp. I got Dr. Phil. Number one podcast we listen to during the season and during the off network, baby.
Bringing it to you all the way live. TTNL, the Tape Never Lies Network. This is Larry Vern Jones, a.k.a. Foster Jones, and I love the Tape Never Lies Network. Bear down, Bear Mates. Ah!
All right, go fuck yourself, Phil and Shayne.
Yes!
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Chicago's trading up.
100.
Yes!
What?
Here it is!
The tape never lies.
The people drop off, but we still keep rocking.
You'll never know how good your football team's going to be until you play with maximum effort. Keeping it 100.
Open competition. Take over the North and never give it back. Smartest man.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man and Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keeping it 100, never running east to west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the freaking anchor, forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shayne's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shayne got some haters. But now they're mouth stuck like the Jew and now and later. Debaters, frauds get kicked like Coach Teven. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sacks trolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shayne. What we do when we're breaking down the Bears. Fuck a play or a captain, all of the unfair. The tape never lies, the truth, you see. We laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a sad nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like Trick Sack. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man and Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we keeping it 100. Keeping it
100, baby.
Keep it 100. Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Justin Fields gets outside the pocket, puts that ball perfectly where only Mooney can get it. 1 point, 2 feet.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Bears never lies.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is Claudio the Barber, and this is TTNL, Keeping It 100, the best bear show on the planet, bar none. We got another great show for you tonight. We got Dionne Miller from ABC 7 coming on. She's one of the best Bears reporter out there, so you know it's going to be fire. You know she's going to keep it 100. So let's bring on the boys. So guys, we all know and love. Some of you love to hate Shayne, the smartest man, Marsaw, and Draft Dr. Phil. Why do they keep disappearing? There they are.
There we are.
Trying to do it with you or for you.
I do it. Nobody else does it. What's up?
I'm glad you said some like to hate Shayne and not me. That's
right.
No one hates me. If they do,
I was more worried
kick them out
about
of the
him.
house.
I was more worried about him saying that Dionne was one of the best. She is the best.
Well,
she's in the right, Dionne.
Exactly. Claude, you gotta.
I don't want to make the other.
up.
Listen, we have other reporters on here. I don't want to make them feel bad. And,
It's a competition, man. I'm judging every week.
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Neutral.
You watch this network?
What's up,
I kept
guys?
it 100 about Olin. People are gonna get all their feathers ruffled about that. But I keep it 100 no matter what, and I gotta agree.
You were
with
talking about
Shayne.
his
He is
analysis,
the
not
queen.
the situation, right?
Right. I'm talking about the analysis. I think if they can't figure that out, I think Chicago is going to be less. But let's get into that later. We got to get our guest right in on this show because there is so much Bears drama everywhere. It's like when I was a kid and I was sick from school, I used to have to stay home and my mom would be home and we'd be watching The Young and the Restless. And that's what it seems like. The Bears.
Does that make Claudio Victor Newman?
I don't even know.
Yeah,
But let's bring her out because I honestly could see that she's dressed for the occasion. But let's bring her out in the TTNL way.
After the debacle we witnessed on Sunday Night Football versus the Rams, we could use someone to brighten up the TTNL studios. So we made a call, and we're bringing in the best TTNL fans. This lady has found the wise. She knows them, just like most of us do. And we didn't even need to collaborate about it. Bears fans, get up out your seats and let's give a proper TTNL welcome to ABC 7 Chicago's very own Dionne Miller.
Okay.
There she is.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you
I've
now.
never done this whole like microphone and the headphones. I'm feeling very tech savvy, which I'm not.
Yes.
But I am wearing the shirt,
Look
guys.
at you.
Looks good.
I'm so happy to see you guys. So happy to see you.
We are happy to see you. We've dealt with a lot over the last 5 months.
No doubt, you
I
guys.
guess.
No doubt. I'm just happy that you're both smiling. We're talking Bears. We're moving forward. I've thought of you guys a lot. I know you've been through a lot, but gosh, nothing but love. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you.
Yeah. All the changes and still things still remain the same a little bit with this team, right?
You guys, I just summed it up. I feel like Matt Eberflus is our combo of Mark Trestman and Matt Nagy, right? Like it's like he says he's the feel good of Trestman. Like we just want everybody to get along and we're camaraderie and the culture is where it's at. But he's also Matt Nagy in that he's like coach speak. And it just feels like more of the same. I want it to be different. I really do. I just don't know if it's going to be.
Well, the accountability thing gives me hope because
for real.
It's not just talk. It's actually backed up from what all of our guys are telling us and what you guys are reporting. You know, drills are being done over. People are being held accountable, including his own coaches. So that's a step beyond both of those men that you're talking about. So maybe that could give you hope.
For sure. And here's what I will say. And you guys were out there, so you saw somewhat of the tempo that they're practicing at. To see Eddie Jackson running hard in training camp, to see those guys responding when coaches ask them to do something and pushing themselves a little bit more. I think that's something we haven't seen in several years of just how committed they are. And the buy-in seems to be there. Now, I know a lot of them don't really have a choice, but I've never been around a training camp where there are so many guys on the roster on 1-year deals, prove it deals, coming in as a veteran and getting a chance with a new regime and kind of having to prove that they belong or that they deserve this chance. I've never been around a camp like that. And while that may not lead to a ton of victories during the season, it certainly lends itself to more competition, more genuine competition for positions where guys really, really care and they want to be involved.
I guess the big separator for me, like when you brought up Trestman and you know, kind of a mix and match of him and Nagy is, Nagy had Justin Fields for 1 year, but to me, he's the ultimate separator here. And I know he's had some struggles along the way, but I mean, it's at the point now where even you guys, the media, we need something. We all crave something, and it is so dissected, and then it's micro dissected from there and every little thing. And you're like, this kid is all of these guys, like you said yourself, it's a bunch of new players, a bunch of guys on 1-year deals, new offense, kind of a ragtag offensive line at this point. And I know along with change, everybody gets excited and says, all right, this is gonna be it. But we've lived that life. You know, we thought Kevin White was going to be here for the next 10 years.
Oh
You know, we thought Mitch was going to be here for the next 15 years.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. And I have been cautiously optimistic, but to me, it's not even about these training camp practices so much. I want to see what it's going to be on the field. And a big part today that came out with me that's been different than all of it is Eberflus saying, no, these guys are going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten that before.
Another thing.
To me, that was
Right.
huge.
It was huge. And he recognizes just how badly they need those reps against somebody not in a Bears uniform. And they do. And I'm thankful for that, because let's not save that for the regular season when it counts and they look like a train wreck. I mean, and I want to give some caveat to what we've seen in training camp, because not only is Justin learning a new offense and a makeshift O-line that I think is coming together. I don't know. My head hurts when I try to think about the combinations that they've done. But think about Luke Getsy, who has spent the entirety of his career working with a Hall of Fame quarterback who he says, here's the play. And Aaron Rodgers can go out and execute it like that. He's not used to developing a quarterback. So we have to give some grace for what he's doing and trying to implement with Justin, that Justin's new and young and learning. And Luke is rightfully frustrated, but he's not been around developing an offense, developing a quarterback before. So I feel like we're seeing some of those growing pains a little bit. They did have a better day at practice today. The offense seemed to. Still entirely too many balls on the ground and entirely too many plays that would have been sacks in real life. So that's still too much. But I do feel like they all feel like they're getting better. And I think that if they're saying that, we have to at this point believe them, because we don't know what else we're going on.
We also, as a coach, you're putting in a new offense, and I don't even know how pointed you should realize what you just said is, because Getsy's coming from a Hall of Fame quarterback that, it's like an oil change for a Toyota. It's just okay. Go get the oil change. The Toyota is running no matter freaking what. That's Aaron.
Yes.
So they just, whatever they call, somehow Aaron's going to find his way out of it. We hate it, but let's keep it 100. Here, we're starting anew. But not only are we starting anew with offense, and we have some pieces there, we lose the center that you sign that's a prick to be the captain of the offensive line. So that happens in pads and shorts. As a coach,
only the Bears. Think about what you just said.
Bears.
That happened without even pads on. Like, that would only happen to Bears. I'm sorry.
Only Bears. And then you have this huge, and this has nothing to do with Pilates, core strength, or anything, but the huge elephant in the room that's causing every ugly person to come out of the closet and show their nastiness, and every hopeful person to come out and try to combat that. It's the Teven Jenkins situation. Because here we are, and I'm the first one. I wanted a tackle, and I wanted Teven.
Yeah.
But again, this situation here, with all of the similarities to the past, is the no answers. Is he an injury, or are they sitting him out trying to trade him? I saw Peggy Kaczynski's tweet. No, he's not injured. So that kind of shit, pardon my language in front of you, just drives me insane. It's like, just be honest. What's going on with Teven?
It drives me crazy. And to have Eberflus be so adamant, nope, it's an injury. It's an injury. You're lying to us, sir. Like, there's no, and for him to be so new in the job, like, just stop it. Just stop it. And I think what's hard is for the news to come out first that people were calling about Teven, to me, is so absurd, because he's played 6 games, like a handful of snaps. Like, I feel like people would call to trade for you or I more than they would Teven Jenkins. Like, he's proven nothing. So what are they calling about? Like, who's putting together some sort of a package to trade for Teven Jenkins? Exactly no one. So now it feels really even more awkward. And it's just going to continue to be awkward as he insists that he's in there working with trainers. To what end? This boy is never going to be back in a Bears uniform on the field. I don't believe that's happening.
Wow.
So now it's like, get out of the way, and just, if you're done with him, be done with him. Like, stop talking in circles about some sort of phantom injury that he might have. Move on. And it feels like they have. That I don't know that they have any. We know they have no emotional connection to him. So if they feel like he's not checked in, then check him out. Let him go. It's devastating to the franchise because of they moved up to get him, and that is an indictment on the last regime, but they're not here anymore. And yes, letting him go may set them back. I don't think it changes anything about the position that they're in. He had no impact on them last year. He was not going to have any impact on them right away. Not the way he was unavailable, right? So I feel like it's at this point, let him go, move along. Let's get this out in the open and just be real about it and keep it 100 and say, look, he's not our guy and we're moving on. And I think that would go a long way towards earning the respect and the admiration and the confidence of a fan base that is dying for their leadership to be truthful with them.
The part that gets me more than anything is this is a football team, like you said, Dionne, 39th pick in the draft last year, and everybody knows that there's offensive line issues. You make the guy, let's just take injuries, mental state, buy-in, fact, just remove all of that. Just let's base it on talent. If he's available, that's announcing to the world that there's a huge problem with this guy. So his value is plummeted. If you're saying that he's injured again and he's trying to work through that, you're decreasing his value even more as a franchise.
Yes.
I mean, if he's injured in the he shouldn't even be out there on the sidelines on an opposite field working with the trainer. I don't know if this is it seems like a misstep by Ryan Poles, by Matt Eberflus, also with Teven Jenkins and his management team, because I said, Cars, the guy that's on the show with us, he'll be here in a little bit, brought up Mike Gundy's comment when Teven he talked to you guys on the conference call, after Teven was drafted, saying this is a kid that you have to come up with different ways to motivate him to keep him interested. Yeah. And maybe they've done that all off season and have gotten no buy-in
that's
from
the thing.
That's the only thing that I can think of.
Dion's a little bit right. Because of all the things you're saying, you're forcing yourself to hold on to him. Because based on this, I've said it 100 times. He's the most talented of them all. You saw it in the open, Shayne talking about it. As my father said, and maybe Joe Paterno before him, you never win with potential. You can't win with potential. So to Dion's point, to my point, even as much as I love Teven Jenkins, I've supported this guy's tape. His tape tells me he's tough.
Yeah.
Maybe mentally, whatever's going on, the pressure or the new culture, expectation, whatever it is all speculation on my part, your part, Shayne's part, Adam Rank's part, Claudio, whoever's part. But the reality is, going back to your Cleveland roots, my uncle, Sam Rutigliano, said, if the kid doesn't have it, get him out.
Yeah.
He took the second round pick. He faced the media and he said, we're cutting the second round pick because he can't play here. You did that kid a service, yourself and everybody.
Absolutely.
All those other people that are going to whine and die. Look, they made a mistake. To your point, they don't have any ties. They didn't draft him. So as much as I want to see Teven, if he's that weird is the word, or aloof, as Shayne put it, and he's not buying into what it is you're building, then it's a very tough situation, but one I believe you have to either get him out there to play and compete or get him out of Chicago. Those are the you have to do
those
it
are your
now.
options.
You can't go with this phony pup list with Roquan.
Oh gosh, that's our next topic, right?
Yeah,
but I do want to say,
I
know, but I do want to say about Teven. I mean, he has had a hard life. He had a hard losing his mom, being raised by his dad. His dad was always so present in his life, in his football life, right? His dad was there at every game, and he had that connection, and things changed when he came to the NFL. Now, is there an adjustment to that? Of course. But I feel like he was in a good place with Gundy and who got him. But then when you get to the NFL, now the expectations are higher. Now you have to like motivate yourself. You can't ask your coaches to go out of their way to make sure that you're motivated to play the way that they need you to. And on an offensive line in the NFL, you have to have some sort of an animalistic ferociousness to you. And Teven doesn't seem to have that. So has he lost interest in football? Maybe. Based on everything he's gone through in his life, I'm not going to fault him for it, but don't waste our time and yours by trying to keep this guy around or putting out there that he's injured and then claiming you're trying to trade him. Like you just told everybody he can't stay on the field. So it feels more like a just cut ties and be done with it. If it means they take another step back, then it just does. Ryan Poles is a young GM learning on the job. And I'm not trying to like transition to Roquan, but the mismanagement of the very first day of training camp when he said, we don't think we're going to put anybody on PUP. 45 minutes later, he comes down and says, no, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I misspoke. We are going to put somebody on PUP. And tomorrow morning when you wake up, it's going to be Roquan Smith. It was like, okay, this is just a young GM trying to figure out where he's going. And I know you guys watched that opening press conference. He looked miserable. He looked scared. He looked like he was.
You called him out on it.
I did. I was like, dude, you look so angry.
Yeah.
He was trying so hard to think of what we were going to say and try and get ahead of us. And it's just, it just was another indicator to me that he's never been in this position before. And so we have to kind of navigate that with him. Sadly, it means what it does, right? That we're going to get mixed messages, that he's going to send mixed messages, that we're not going to totally know what he's saying. And he's still feeling out how he wants to handle the media. And we're learning all those things as we go. So, the bumps and bruises of that suck. Like it's awful, especially when you want your team to be winning and thriving. But I feel like it's part of it to kind of turn that corner until he feels like he's found his footing and his rhythm and he can actually work with the guys that are out there.
All right. I guess we got to jump head first into it. Number 58. Yeah. I honestly, and I'll keep it 100 like we like to say here. I think it was a nod to Roquan. I think it's these guys, the way that the new CBA is, if they don't show up and they get fined, they can't just say, all right, forget about it. They actually have to go through with that fine. The whole thing of the hold in portion of it now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that this is leading to them actually working out a long-term agreement? Or do you think they're just buying time? And I don't know. It's going to be a big money, probably a market setting deal, however it is for Roquan, but he's been a different guy himself in some things. And I think he's also doing himself a disservice by representing himself in these contract negotiations. That part of it, I don't understand. From Roquan's point of view.
I have so many questions. Number one, who's advising Roquan right now? Like here's a young guy dealing with, generational wealth that you would not even like, who's advising him to take this approach? We've heard that his family is heavily involved. Okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean that he's supposed to also take care of them? Because that's going to make him want to ask for more money. That's going to make him push for more money and hold out for more money. The franchise declaring their undying love for him gives him more power because he knows they want him and they want to keep him. So I just am confused. And then their insistence that, well, he's engaged and he's at practice and he's sitting there riding his stationary bike. And I'm like, this is so weird. Now, I've never been a part of a hold-in situation. This is the first time I've ever dealt with that. So I'm kind of learning what it all means. And some of us reporters were discussing, like, we think it'll probably be at least another week before we hear anything more, before they finally work something out. I know that they will. What it looks like, I'm not sure. But when he sees like Deebo Samuel and he sees these other contracts coming up from guys who were, waited it out or insisted they get what they want, that's not going to discourage him from staying out, right? Like he's just going to think, well, if I keep holding out, they're going to eventually pay me because they've made it so clear that they want me. So what is his rush at this point? And so that is interesting. Roquan's always been a very interesting guy. I don't know. He's wicked talented. Like this is what we want, right? Like we want him on the field. The defense is better with him on the field. It just is a mysterious move on both sides. And it it does buy them time. They're not fining him. He's not losing any money by doing what he's doing, essentially, or losing more money, I guess, other than just waiting it out.
But do you think that this process is at this point because of his lack of representation?
Probably. Like if he, I keep thinking, all I can picture is Jerry Maguire. But if he had like a Jerry Maguire, who was
Show
like,
me the money.
Show me the money. Wow. I feel like that would force their hand to expedite things a little bit more. And I mean, even in my industry, we have agents. I don't want to talk to my bosses about the financials. It's so awkward. Right. And you don't want to hear them say, well, you're not this person or this person or this person, so that's why we're not going to pay you. Well, I hope they're not saying that to Roquan, but maybe they are. I don't know. I don't know how NFL negotiations work. I do feel like if he had the right representation, and by that I mean someone who genuinely understands the talent that Roquan has, where it measures up in the market and what the Bears are willing to give, and kind of meets that in the middle for him. He doesn't have that. And if it's family who's advising him, that feels like a really poor decision. I mean, that just doesn't sound like, how would they even understand?
Right. Let's be honest. There is a bias when you're sitting up there with a financial person. Christ, me and my wife are going out looking for cars right now, and I'm dealing with some of these car salesman. I'm like, I'm not going over this price. This is, I'm not a pro at that and what they're trying to sell you. So imagine this is your life, your contract. And the thing that makes it even worse for me is that no one really talks about it enough, but he's under the 5th-year option. So technically he's under a deal. So he should be playing and working on this deal like players from the past. Like, get the deal done. Show us that you want to be here. And I know it's not the popular opinion, but you were there through Matt Nagy's chaos. And you were the only one on the defense there when everybody was sitting out. Remember last year? Or was that this past one? So now all of a sudden, it sends the wrong message, in my opinion, to the defense. As you're trying to build this culture, and you got 2 young bucks out there making highlights in Brisker and Kyler Gordon. Now Eddie Jackson's starting to wake up, like you said, and he's buying in. And he was my biggest concern, Eddie Jackson was.
Well, he's not He's not going to make the money he makes here anywhere else if they moved off.
Hopefully he knows that. But here's the other thing that is a head scratcher for me with Roquan. He was at all of OTAs. He was at all the offseason stuff. He was in. We talked to him. He seemed so bought into what was happening and like understood the changes, and he was ready to be the vocal leader, and guys were looking at him. Jalen Johnson said it more than once, like, that's our quarterback. That's our leader. He's the guy who sets the tone for the defense. So he's clearly valued in the locker room. I don't know what he's ultimately after. I don't know what he ultimately thinks will get him more than what he could have gotten had he just gone along and gone to training camp. I don't know what he's hoping for. And we won't know until it's all over. But to put him on PUP and then to act like he's actually got some sort of a legitimate injury is such a, we're not idiots, you guys. Like, hello, we all know what's happening here. It's just, that almost infuriates me more. Like, we're not dumb. If you want him to be as engaged and as possible, and he is in all the meetings and all that stuff, he's fine. He's fine. It's just, it's business. It's business.
It's all business. It's all business.
If you take Roquan Smith and Teven Jenkins off the table, what you've seen now, what has been your biggest disappointment so far for the Chicago Bears training camp?
I think, gosh, the first thing that pops in my mind is the lack of offensive execution. And I know that we want to say things like, well, it's only August 3rd, but today twice they didn't get the play in time. And for them to be raving about how Justin is so grasping this offense and he's ready to own it and run it, that was disappointing. There were a number of times where he completed plays that should have been sacks, like 3 or 4 times. And it still feels like they're a JV football team. And that's just my opinion from the outside. Now, offense was definitely better today than yesterday, but it always feels like we're at training camp and I can drink the Kool-Aid and feel like, oh my gosh, the Bears are going to actually win some games. And then you'll go watch somebody else's training camp and you're like, wow, are they playing the same sport? Like, what's happening here? And so it feels like there's still such a work in progress. I will say this, as corny as we think Eberflus with his hits principles and culture and his like coach speak, the way the guys are responding to it is very far different than it has been in the past from my experience. And that to me is encouraging. It's disappointing to me though, that the offense isn't moving along as quickly as we'd like to see. There were no plays. You probably noticed this too. There's no moments during training camp practices where the crowd is like, oh, ooh, ah, like there's no ooh, ah, like big moments that you think, wow, that'll be so cool when that happens in a game. None of that has happened yet. And I don't know how to explain that other than, growing pains, the learning curve.
Two things. This network 100% supports the corniness or whatever is being labeled of Eberflus's hits philosophy. And I'll say this because I've been around coaches that don't keep after it. They start it and then, okay, there's, Kakeem Hicks loafing. There's this guy loafing. I'm not going to say, no, I don't want to. You have to be consistent with it. And all of a sudden, obviously, defense is always going to trump in the infancy of your season, your offense. So naturally, we're going to see slower growth on the offensive side. And I won't make an inappropriate joke there, but the reality of this situation needs to grow and I get what everybody wants, but I'm going to push back and say, I love Eberflus's fire and passion and the fact that the players are all buying into it. And not only that, Dionne, I mean, Justin Jones went out of his way to defend this guy. Like, I trust this man.
Yeah.
Way out of his way. David Montgomery. I mean, today, I just want to say this with you here. What I witnessed David say in that presser today was the reason why I've slammed the table for this guy. And I don't care what, Shayne, cars, money. This goes beyond the money. What he said, I know they're words, but they aren't words. I know what he's talking. He has something to prove. But to be a father and to be vulnerable like that, we talk about that all the time on this network, all the time. And there's this kid who's gotten beaten down by all these blog boys and Madden rankings and fantasy gurus on Adam Rank. Everybody else, though, he's not fast enough, blah, blah, blah. Where's his stats? He's out there and he spoke from the heart, Dionne. And I was blown away.
Same.
Proud that he is on this football team. And I've always called him the identity. So if he can buy into that, what were you thinking when you were witnessing David today? That's something positive to come from camp.
Oh my goodness. Like, I was legitimately challenged about where I'm putting my trust these days. I mean, like, he was a different guy. A different guy. Last season, when he would sit up there, he was very defensive, very curt, very short answers. He was a different guy. And he talked about his faith journey. And he's like, I'm here for something bigger. And he's like, those pressures that I put on myself were all because I was trying to do it by myself. Like, now that I've found God and I know that it's not on me, I can rely on something else. It's changed everything for me. And right down to the fact that he's like, that's fine. The defense wins the day. That's good for the team. The offense wins the day. That's good for the team. Like, he was so eloquent and so, if anyone's listening and didn't hear the whole thing, I encourage you to go find it on the Bears YouTube page because they didn't
put it on their YouTube page.
They haven't put it up there?
The only one missing is his. And
I'll call them out on that because that was so good.
We were trying to get it so we can play it tonight.
Oh
because
my
it's
gosh.
that good.
It's that good. And it is. And I even posted it on the socials, go try to find it. It was that He just was so different. And having been around him the last 3 years, that was not the same person. It just was, you could tell that he had been changed and something was different. And gosh, I can just so rally around somebody like that, right? Like willing to recognize where they can grow and be different, and being a father and maturing and realizing that he's now a veteran and guys are watching what he's doing and taking that seriously. Right. And gosh, I could not cheer for him more. I'm thrilled that he's on the team too. I think he's going to be incredibly valuable to them on and off the field. Like, he understands that there's going to be some pains in growing with this offense, but he's ready for it. And he's ready to be out there and supporting Justin and recognizing he's also in a contract year and he knows what he's after, but his priorities are so far different than they were even 6 months ago. You could hear it in his voice today. It was pretty cool.
Dionne, I don't know what they've shared with you, but everybody I know, like in terms of fans, Phil's in Connecticut, I'm in New York, so we're not right there to be able to go to practice every day, obviously, but this whole thing with
our people.
Yeah.
You do I know. So much so that I actually thought you were there and didn't tell me. That's how in your people are.
You were offended that I didn't come up and say
I know. I was
hello
like,
to them.
I walked
I'm
right
not
by
there.
those stands today. Like, how did no one say hello to me? All right, go ahead. Sorry.
But in terms of people recording training camp and recording plays, and I said, I can log on and stream a Minnesota Vikings practice or New England Patriots practice. Is that something that you guys have questioned, like behind the scenes, or that you guys talk about? And what has been said? Because Phil and I were talking about it privately today, and I said, just imagine going there with your son, who's a huge Justin Fields, and I mean, I was told Larry Mayer was pointing fans out that were recording people,
like the Gestapo.
What is going on? It's just I don't get it.
I don't either. I will never understand.
They're worried about that. They're worried about being cloak and dagger with Teven Jenkins, with Roquan Smith. They're worried about screwing the fans over that are pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into this.
It is mind-boggling. Here's what I don't understand. You're practicing in front of the fans. Like, you're not hiding anything. Who cares if they film it and put it on social media?
And you're not doing anything anyway.
You're not doing anything
You're not winning.
You're not correct. You're not even winning training camp practices.
If Belichick is streaming his practice, I think the Bears can stream theirs, for God's sake.
I mean, my number one thing that I say is, you are not even that good. Like, stop it.
Right.
You're not fooling anybody. Like, you're pulling fans out of the stands at training camp and telling them they can't film practice. Get out of my face, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they grabbed one guy's phone and went through his phone.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
I don't even think legally they can do that, but
I don't know if they can either. But then they also have a guy in Friends and Family, Clay Harbor, who played in the NFL, but was also on The Bachelorette. That's how I know him. But he's filming stuff and posting it, and no one says a word. What is, like, it's such a double standard. I don't understand. I will never understand. When I first started covering the Bears, little over 10 years ago, we could film the entirety of training camp practices, all of them, every single day, the whole thing. Didn't matter. You could ISO a guy the whole time. You wanted to do a whole story on Cody Whitehair, you could follow him around for the whole day. You could stop him on the way to the lunchroom and talk to him. What changed? What changed? Because I can tell you, you haven't won enough games, all of that access. Right. So what is going on? It is absolutely infuriating to us. And then once the season starts, all we really get is stretch. We had to ask them if, as television medium, we could film the first 5 minutes of individual drills, because all we would ever get is stretch. And all you want is to see Justin Fields throw a pass, for crying out loud.
What that is, Dionne? A loser's mentality.
Correct.
I'm going back to my Uncle Sam again, but I have to. And I said it on the last show. You want people to know how proud you are. You want to be a winner. Show them everything. Mm-hmm. Force them to stop you.
What are you hiding?
What are you hiding?
What are you hiding?
Imagine me taking my son Tate to Chicago to meet Adam Rankin, David Montgomery, and Dionne Miller, and the three of you just walk by. We can't even film it. No,
like
that's what people are going there and feeling like. I have footage of them taking a guy out of the stands and going through his phone. It's a disgrace. I've called them out for this, and to Greg Bragg's, he started this bullshit. Because he was getting more notoriety than the Chicago Bears website was. Well, do your job better.
Thank you.
Do your job better.
Do your job better. We actually
fans.
At ABC 7, we reached out to a guy who had an awesome shot of that that pass that Justin threw to Cole Kmet in between two DBs.
Right.
I mean, they were still in shorts and shells, whatever, but it was a great pass. We reached out to him on Twitter and said, could we use this and give you a courtesy? And he said no. Do you know why? Because he didn't want the Bears to take his phone away. Yeah. Like what in the world? Like do they hear what people are saying? And then the Chicago Tribune was at practice. One of the first training camp practices wanted to take pictures of kids getting autographs. They said, no, not this year. Not allowed to do that. What? What? Who? What? How? What? That's insane.
Take away your press badge. We're going to threaten you.
Because you want to take pictures of kids getting autographs, like a positive thing for your loser franchise. Stop it. It's unreal.
People are going to get offended by what you're saying, but Dion's talking from your past, what you've shown these past 4 years under Nagy, Pace. I believe Ted Phillips and Pace did this I'm telling you, they decided that, we can't film practice because, the media department's getting upset because their content isn't going as far as whatever. And that's where I say everybody should go. The fan is promoting the Chicago Bears. They're not promoting themselves.
Yeah.
So it just baffles me beyond anything. And it's always been talked about here. Because you know what? One last point on this, and I know it makes some people nervous. Truth, for some reason, that's truth, not some fraudulent narrative that someone came up with. But there's fans in Scotland, and there's fans in Russia and Greece and Italy. You might not think of that, Ted and George and company, but the brand Chicago Bears means a lot to me.
It does.
I might not like you, the ownership, but I love the Bears and I can't help it. Right? I'm in Connecticut. I would order the Bear Report. My mother gave me that gift. I was in 4th grade. We tell the story. I used to get it in the mail and read it front to back because that was my internet back then.
Of course.
3rd or 4th grade. Now we got access to everything. These young bucks, they don't even know how spoiled they are. They can come on to TTNL and hear a rant, and they can go on to the Sick podcast, and they can see Dionne Miller. They can get all the information and get their comment, but we couldn't. Now we have the access, and now you're condensing the coverage.
It's unbelievable. It's
sad.
Unbelievable, and I feel like it changed.
The fact that you do that.
Oh,
that you
I
ask
feel
the
like
tough questions at the.
I try. It's hard. They are so, they get into that coach speak mode and they just, give you a faux answer, but I feel like you need to ask the questions. I just get sad for the fans that are all over the country, that they've worked so hard to grow this fan base that they claim is unlike any other. And then they restrict their access to the team they love. I just will never understand that. And I don't know how they don't see that as a detriment. I feel like it really changed with John Fox. I felt like when Ryan Pace came in, he was really transparent. And then an older coach came in like Fox, who was paranoid from the moment he walked into Hallis Hall. And I feel like he made everybody think that we were all out to get them. And I mean, you guys remember those press conferences. He said so many words without saying anything. And it was like, oh my gosh, you have to stop talking. And it was just not like, he just was a lot of nothing. And I feel like that's when Pace changed. And then Pace's influence on everything that followed that is the way that the Bears are right now. And even like their media people are so scared to do anything. They don't know who's going to yell at them or who isn't. And even today we were walking to the other field to watch 7-on-7 drills because of course they were 8 miles from where they had us standing. So we're trying to walk over to the other side so we could see what was happening. And we're standing on the track and this poor intern is like, I don't know, nobody told me if this is okay. Can you please go to the stands? Because I don't know what to do with you. And then we get in the stands and some fan is like, oh, media has access wherever they want to go. I don't know why they're standing here. And I was like, no, actually, we don't. Actually, we're just fans today. Like, this is as far as we can go. I mean, it's so insane.
Crazy.
It's so insane. It's so insane.
Oh my God. It is. It is baffling, and it
I
makes
should
your
complain.
job.
Like, I love my job. I don't want to complain. Like, I have a great job, but it is frustrating when you can't do it the way you want to do it to help the fan get closer to their favorite team. Like, that's the whole point of my job, is to help you guys everywhere feel like they know this team better. And it feels like the Bears don't want us to do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I mean,
right.
This isn't anything against your job or any other reporter's job. That one thing that I've noticed, I've started to see a definite divide even on Twitter with like people like what Phil and I do versus people that are actually on the beat, because some fans will look at it and say, oh, you're just being overtly negative. And then they'll look at us and be like, well, these assholes are posting videos and we're getting dragged for it. And we're at practice. And I said, that's the part. All the while, nobody's going to ChicagoBears.com for content.
No,
nobody's reading that. Nobody's reading it.
Nobody's doing that
because it's so watered down with just what is your favorite Kellogg's commercial? I mean, all of this stuff isn't
it's
what.
So true. What's your pregame meal? I know. I know.
It's unfortunate that I got to be jealous of the Philadelphia Eagles and their website and how they cover their football team, because they don't hide anything. In fact, the coach brings you into the film room and he shows you the offensive lines. And that's the kind of stuff that Bears fans are. Now, maybe I should slow my roll, because that's what I do. Because I show you the truth. I'm gonna show you the truth. Like, I love what Eberflus is saying. Now, when the tape comes, let's see how they perform. That stuff's gonna come out. But and I know we're almost in a chit chat instead of asking the questions. But I think it's not you, it's us, because it's so important. Listen, Dionne, we were praying back when Poles got the job, when he turned and said, I chose him. Then I'm like, oh, please give this dude the power to understand that the fans need to be in the vicinity of one-on-one drills, and they need to see the 7-on-7. It depends on where you are. Move your ass over there if you want to see 7. But to have an intern say, I don't want to get fired, so can you please go? This is like, come on.
It's crazy.
Walt Disney World, they do a great job down there, right? Let's start taking some notes. Start allowing these fans. You're only allowing 1,500. How about this, Dionne?
Oh, crowds
they
have
took
been
away
so small.
tickets.
It's unreal. It's like
They
embarrassing.
took away tickets. They gave tickets and said, "Oh, by the way, we got to take those back. You can't come."
It's
24
that's
hours
why there's
later.
that's why there's no buzz. That's why there's
Right.
no like energy. There was nothing to me like a jam-packed day in Bourbonnais. Nothing like it, right? I mean, you'd pull in and park and you could feel how excited everybody was, and fans who couldn't afford to go to Soldier Field could afford to go to training camp, right? And they could be there and they could see their favorite players and feel like they were a part of the team. That is gone. It's so gone. It feels very vanilla now. Like it's just and they're so controlling the message. I think that's what I'm really exhausted by. Here's what I'm excited about. I'm excited that we're going to get back in the locker room. I'm excited that we're going to get a sense of, Eberflus can tell me until he's blue in the face that he's so proud of their culture. But when I'll notice it, when I'm standing in the locker room and guys are hanging out with each other, or guys are really, you can tell they're engaged with one another and they're really buying in. That's stuff we haven't seen what feels like an eternity. I know it's been 3 years, but it feels like forever since we've seen these guys not at a podium, not from far away, not answering questions from everybody at the same time, just getting to know who they are and kind of feeling out how they fit with this team. That I cannot wait for that. And apparently that's happening week 1. And I feel like that's going to totally change how the team is represented, both in the media and in print and all those things, where the access will be back. And that's what we've missed. And I think that's not helped a losing franchise at all. So getting to cheer for quality guys and feeling like you actually know them, hopefully that will start to happen again.
I want to say one other thing. Growing up around football, going to training camp as a child with your father to be 3 feet from Mark Gastineau and Freeman McNeil. I went to Jets camp when I was like 6 years old because my uncle Larry was a special teams coach with them. So I got to be right there. And to see that, a lasting impression forever, right? And I wasn't even a Jets fan. I was always a Walter Payton fan, and my loyalty was with the Bears. That's how I became a Bears fan. But my point was and is football I love. But that experience I'll never forget. And you're doing a disservice by saying 1,500 of you. And you know what?
It's awful.
That's it. And it's just a lot of things the Bears are doing we hope they wouldn't have done.
I know.
They're doing it. So that, to me, giving you a kind of hill to climb to do your job reporting, as well as controlling a narrative. I don't want that. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you.
We don't want that either. And I feel like we are blessed to live in a market where reporters we still try to ask hard questions, even though you may not get the answer that you want, but you'll actually I know a lot of reporters, you guys do too, who will pin it on them and say, wait a minute, but this is what happened. And you said this, but this is what actually we saw. And I appreciate that. I feel like our market does a good job with that and trying to get to the truth. I just think once the access is opened up a little bit more with getting in the locker room, we're going to get even more of that and getting more of the vibe and getting more of the personalities. And that's what I feel like grows the fan base a little bit more. You know, you mentioned about bringing kids to training camp. I took my son when he was 7. I mean, I think he'll love Akeem Hicks for the rest of his life, right? Like, he got his autograph and he was like this larger than life personality who was so like, hey, what's up? You know, like, so cool. And you just don't forget those moments. And gosh, I wish that the Bears would just get the fact that that's what they need more than anything right now is good PR. They just need good PR. Like, they just need something that isn't about their record, right? Like, just makes them really great. And I will say this, most of the rookies that they brought in and even some of the free agents are easy guys to root for. We had Velus Jones on my weekend radio show on ESPN 1000, and he was so quality, so humble, so easy to talk. It was like, you know what? You may not win a lot of games, but I can cheer for a guy like that. Same with the way I feel about David Montgomery now, right? Like, you're like, okay, I don't care if you lose. I genuinely like him. So that makes me more invested, right? And so if they could let us have that kind of access, I think it would change things for fans too, no matter the outcome on Sundays.
So if you could ask Matt Nagy one question in the first preseason game, Dionne, what would it be?
Did you ever find the whys?
Yeah. Are you still searching for the whys?
Take that and think about that a little bit.
I know. Think about that. We'll come back to you for your answer. No, I feel like one of I would want to know if he regrets anything about how he handled Mitch and the offense when he was in Chicago, because he was so hell-bent on doing it his way and the way that worked with Alex Smith, and couldn't understand why it didn't work with Mitch, right? Like, he could never kind of grasp that. And I just want to know if he regrets how he handled all of that. I will never forget I can't believe I'm saying these words, the first club dub of last season. And the video that the Bears put out, and it was only Matt. Like, it wasn't the guys surrounding him and everybody cheering, whatever. It was just Matt. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, we're forcing it. Like, it's played. Yeah. It's so played, and he's not reading the room. And I just wonder if he regrets not evolving with his team a little bit more. 2018 was fun and magical and wonderful. But like that moment in London in 19, obviously the pandemic, but then it just felt like, oh my gosh, it's all unraveling. And I just wonder if he regrets anything about how he handled all of that. But also, does he regret making that basketball court in his house with his name on it?
No regrets. No regrets. Matt Nagy. I have a lot of regrets from Matt Nagy, but that's a whole nother story. I just want to say this, though. In all honesty, I want to thank you personally for always checking in on me and my family, the integrity that you carry yourself with boils over on this show. Some fans are going to be upset because you're ruining their high and
I'm
hope.
sorry.
Right now, this is what the truth is. This is actually going on. Ivan Vargas and Alex Acevedo and Alan Bratcher from our network, we're all out there saying the same things that you are. Like, why are we limiting these? Why are they doing this? So to your point, I want to just thank you, honestly, on the air. Obviously, I've thanked you via text, but now that I could see you, I just appreciate everything you do for me and this network and how you support our fans. Love you.
Wow.
And I truly appreciate you coming on tonight. I know your time is valuable, and for you to come on, talk Bears, we always need you. You did make a promise that we will get a question during the season. Now I'm going to text you during the week, a TTNL question, whatever day you said. I always keep track of our promise folder.
Well, I will keep my promise, and I must say,
we have it right here, Dionne. It's Larry. Shut up! I'm going first today.
I will happily say that out loud. No, but I have to be honest. Like, guys, I feel like I'm like you. You are my friends. Like, I genuinely care about you both as people, but also as Bears fans, and I feel like we're kind of in it together. And I adore you guys. So I appreciate you asking me to come on and for even caring about what I do. And it feels good. It feels like you guys are family. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love you. And our guys are going to be out there Friday. So
I'm
hopefully
off on
they
Friday. When will they? Was anybody going to Family Fest? Are you sending anybody to Family Fest?
Yes, they'll be there at Family Fest. So
someone needs
I wish
me or something.
I was trying to sneak up there today to make a visit, but the prices to fly from Connecticut to Chicago.
If you see a guy with a great big handlebar mustache, you know that's our guy.
Okay. All right. I'll look for him.
All he's going to
Filming
do is
practice.
He looks like
there
this.
He
is. You bet. He better wave. He better wave.
All he's going to do is yell, "The tape never lies." And
that's all I need.
Dionne. And then you'll
that's all I
turn.
need.
Hopefully we'll have a little gift for you or something. But
we'll at least take a photo together. That's
at least that. We have
that.
You open every show with
it's
your
amazing.
tape never.
You
You're
guys,
right in the song.
I know, you guys. It's amazing. It's an honor. It truly is an honor.
Part of
and
this
still,
network.
Well, I feel really blessed by that. So thank you.
You don't get any pay, but you.
No, I don't want any pay. Friendship is enough, guys. It's fine.
That's what I mean. Before we let you go, is there one guy out there that you think this guy's going to be special?
Jaquan Brisker.
Yep.
There you go.
He's really fast. He's gonna make a difference this season, and he's fun to cheer for. Yeah, you see it on the field in training camp. He's different. It's gonna be fun.
No Trent Gill love, Dionne?
Well, maybe, but I mean, forgive me for not studying
Yeah.
special teams as much as I should have. Richard Hightower says yes, he will be one to watch as well, but I'm going with Jaquan.
Yeah,
Quani B. I'm a big fan.
I'm on board with
Me
that.
too. Dionne MVP. Obviously, they had some questions for you, but we got to let you out, right? You got to go.
I'm sorry. I know. It's
okay.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
One day we're going to get you to dunk on that rim for the show.
Well, let me work on it first. I just realized the disaster that's behind me. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. It looks so bad.
It's messy. The chair is covering up, but anyway.
Well, thank you so much. If you're just tuning in, we have from ABC 7 Chicago, the sports beat reporter for Chicago Bears, Dionne Miller, friend and family member of this show. We always say TTNL is family, and you are. Follow her at D Miller ABC7 on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Follow her socials and let her know. Thank you for coming on tonight, Dionne. We really, truly appreciate it.
All right. Love you guys. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye now. Dionne Miller, Shayne. She's so good.
Always great. Yeah, she brightens up the room with that big smile, even though we're getting some not fun stories out of our favorite football team. But it's early yet, man. Things can change once they get into games. I don't think anybody's expecting them to go out and contend for the Super Bowl. I think you're going to see strides. As Claudio says, we're thirsty.
One of them put the fucking backdrop up. Jackal, I blame you. Pay attention. Do your job.
Wiping his mouth.
Hey,
how you doing? I love it.
Doing all right, you boys. Great interview with Dionne. She's a fucking pure gem, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, a lot of hate in the chat, man. People are upset. No,
there's a lot of hate everywhere lately.
So Twitter's a cesspool right now. Yeah.
Yes,
there he is.
That's a recurring theme in the chat room. Is why is Twitter such a cesspool? And I've
get out of it.
I've pulled my toe out of that pool. Cars,
smart play.
I'm done.
Yeah,
with
after
that.
my fight with Perfetti yesterday, I pretty much was just gonna go ahead and tap out. So it's been a fun couple of days.
It's always fun when you're fighting with an emoji or AVI or whatever. What's the correct nerd term for it?
Avi is it? Yeah.
Avi. Well, Avi. It is Avi, huh? God.
Yeah.
Avatar. Yeah.
Avatar. Listen, I go on many a show and I talk a lot of football and a lot of smack. But our next guest, unlike Cars, brings a level of passion that only rivals me. Only rivals me. Because we had to produce on our own way. Is there any hope? Guy is honestly someone I truly respect in the game and love very much. I consider him a brother. He was out at camp and he snubbed us, I think. I don't know what happened. I blame Larry Mann. No, he didn't. He was busy at his job, his day job from the NFL Network. Your favorite football analyst, favorite analyst to follow and steal advice from. He's my guy. I made that other part up. I think it's even better. He's the guy, the man, the myth, the legend in Chicago. Adam Rank. What's up, Rank?
What's going on? I'm in Deerfield, though. I don't want the Chicago people. I don't want the Chicago people. You're like, this guy's in the suburbs. How dare he? You know what? I'll tell you what. I took a drive tonight over to Wheeler, and I went to Joey's Pizzeria, and it was as good as advertised. I was driving. I'm like, the one thing that I tell people is I think I was telling Bayless or Kari Blasen game. I go, don't do deep dish. I go, you can just drive for 10 minutes. You'll run into a small pizzeria somewhere. And this is exactly what I did. Driving through Wheeler, see Joey's Pizzeria. I'll post it on my Instagram and my IG story. Almost get into an accident driving into this place.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
So good. It was so amazing.
It was good.
It was, oh my God. It was so good. And I'm remiss. I'm a little pissed because in this same like strip mall at the very end, there was a Jeffrey's bowling alley that had an old style sign up. And I'm like, if I would have known that you guys were going to sit here and bitch about the Bears for an hour while I was sitting here waiting, I swear to God, I sometimes just cannot take the media, which I know that I'm a part of. I was at, listen, the problem, every team, and I know you guys, I understand. Listen, we all want access, but you know what, Bears fans, first of all, you all have to understand, you all have to start taking some culpability. If you guys weren't so terrible on Twitter, I think the Bears would be more open. No disrespect. And I'm not talking to the people who follow the Tape Never Lies network. I'm talking about the ones that I'm talking about. The haters
of the Tape Never Lies network. I'm sure.
That's who we have to blame. The Bears would let us, if it was just us, the Bears would
Yes.
love to be cool. And listen, I don't speak for the Bears. I'm just telling you. The haters. There's too many haters out there. Alleged Bears fans who always have to just be negative and whatever. Like, that's why this team behaves this way. You've made them crazy. You can't treat somebody horribly and then be like, well, why are they acting this way? Like, because of you. They're in a bad relationship with some of you, not all of you, not anybody who listens to the Tape Never Lied Network. Certainly not anybody who listens to the Sick Podcast. The
Love the
Lightful
Sick
people.
Podcast.
I will tell you this. I was
Yes.
at the Bengals camp. I don't want to call out the Bengals because the Bengals are a nice organization. They're good people. I had a great time in Cincinnati. Wonderful
Carr's
city.
second favorite team.
That's right.
Wonderful city. But like they wouldn't let cameramen on the field, which is really difficult to like shoot practice when there's just a wall of ass in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't see it. What are we shooting? So like they had like security guards yelling at kids, like, calm down. Like it's not like the kids are just there trying to do whatever. The Bengals, funny enough, Joe Mixon of all people was actually out signing autographs. They didn't sign autographs the way that the Bears, I saw the Bears players do. Of course, I missed a lot of stuff too because I don't know if you guys caught the network coverage today. We were doing multiple hits. We had interviews with Eberflus, David Montgomery, Jalen Johnson. We had a hit where I did something about fantasy football, which I didn't want to do, but I'm like, all right, I got to do it. Like it's like if you're Chris Robinson and you're going on a television, like, okay, I'll play Remedy, whatever. I get it.
You have to do it. You're known for
I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
Gotta,
I can't.
Even fucking what's his name from the fucking All Access, Joniak.
Yeah.
Give me one fantasy tip.
Joniak. By the way, I got to see Tom Thayer today in person.
Yes.
The first time I've ever met him in person. I love him. He's
you got all choked up on the podcast. You got a little scratch in your
literally
throat.
choked up.
Literally choked up as I was dying of COVID. I'm fine now. Don't worry.
Are you okay?
But we
Seriously.
also did a thing. We also did a hit where we were all around the thing, being like, who's the second year quarterback that's gonna break through this year? And there's 6 people on this panel. Is Palmer, 3 people in New England, Stacy, and me. So 3 of them sent Trevor Lawrence. Like, thanks, got it. And then nobody said Zach Wilson, which was hilarious to me. But then they come back to me like, oh, I can't believe that you said Justin Fields. And I said, oh, I mean, obviously. And they're like, well, they did nothing. They did nothing. I go, they did nothing? Like how? Like bad avatars on Twitter. I understand when this comes from them. I don't want to hear it from an NFL Network employee. And I said this on the air, so I'm not talking S. I said it to Girardi, and I said it to everybody. I go, they improved their defense. They improved the secondary. If they get shorter fields and less time on defense, how does that not help Justin Fields? How does it not? I go, what do you want him to do? Like, if they would have given N'Keal Harry $90 million, would you guys have been like, great job? Good job. Like, you guys are equating overspending. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I said nothing. I sat there and said nothing when you were talking about, like, well, look at the Jags. They brought in Christian Kirk. I'm like, who the F is Christian Kirk? Like, oh my God. Like, Rondale Moore, they already decided second year Rondale Moore is better than he is. Like, we don't need him. Gone.
Right.
We don't, like, we're not even going to have DeAndre Hopkins. Still don't need him. I mean, even, I don't know, maybe you can blame Call of Duty boy for not getting him the football enough, and maybe he'll break out. I don't care.
Yeah, and the dude they traded for got clipped today too, right? Wasn't that
Jesus
today?
Christ. Why? Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you, when people, like, why are you driving still? Like, get a car service. Every single one of you. Like I don't know. There's certain things like I don't know. If it was up to me, I would never drive because by the way,
85 and a 35 is fine. No big deal.
Yeah.
What's 85 in a school zone?
You know what? Like I remember overreacting to Byron Pringle, like for doing donuts. It's like, okay, like that's childish, but it's like
with a kid in the car. Yes.
Yeah, their cars. Nothing's gonna happen to your car. You're fine. You're safe. I see their cars. They're fine. Like, yeah, I would. All of them.
It was a Subaru, for God's sake.
Was it? Yeah, that's safe.
No, I'm just joking.
It's a Subaru. It's a Volvo. You're fine. Nothing's gonna happen.
It's a Sentra, Phil, you asshole.
It's the exhibition. It's the exhibition of speed that gives me a little bit. That's what concern. I don't know. You guys like you're a different. I don't know. You're a different. There's something if you can get to the level of the NFL. There's something about you that's competitive and whatever. And I don't know if that translates into driving fast or whatever. Maybe this is why I didn't make the NFL because I drive like an old. Although I apparently drive fast because I found myself like, why am I driving? Like when I'm in California, I look like an old lady. They're just like like everybody's passing me up. I'm skittish. Oh, get me out the wheeler, and all of a sudden, I'm
you're home, man. That's what it is.
I know. I don't know what it is. Turn into Jeff Stewart.
You're feeling.
I don't know if that's a real race car driver, but it just sounds
good.
Jeff Stewart. Jeff Stewart. Who's the guy?
Call of Duty boy. Whoever.
Call of Duty boy.
That was the best.
Why I cannot like if you would
Tony Stewart is
Tony Stewart. If you would give me $1 million right now to name a NASCAR driver who's not Dale Earnhardt, I don't think I could do it. I can't.
Yes.
I can't think of one. Dale and I don't want to say him.
Who was the Italian dude? What was his name?
Jeff Gordon. There's one, and he's retired. Jimmy Johnson. That's the name of an NFL coach. I don't know.
Yes.
All of a sudden, I'm Jimmy Johnson driving from Deerfield to Wheeler. Just like I'm in a souped up Honda Accord. Like
there you go.
Like Hertz, what are you doing giving me this car? By the way, I was not used to O'Hare. I'm not. By the way, I gotta make sure I can't run the light. This was like being behind a comic where you're waiting. Like, is this comic done yet?
I was texting you, man. I was like,
hey. I had to go. Well, then come in. No, somebody. Oh, I didn't. I don't want to interrupt her time. Okay. I might have. She was on a roll. She was very passionate. Yes. I appreciate the job that our local. I say it again. Our local media does a great job. Sometimes they'll calm down. Like it's not the. I get it. Like we shouldn't be going through phones. We got some overzealous people. There's baffling questions, but I think. Listen, I've gone to enough camps that a lot of teams and a lot of people have a lot of
the filming though. Rank that doesn't sit well.
But she made the point. Like they didn't stop Clay Harbor. I think
that's an elitist thing.
I know. I think
it doesn't come off good.
Have you stood next to Clay Harbor? There's a reason why there's a reason why the security guard is haranguing the 12-year-old
count.
Now listen, there's a reason why the security guard is haranguing the 60-year-old shop teacher and not the former NFL tight end. Like you pick your battles. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, look at you. You become Vic Mackey from The Shield when it's some retiree who drove a bus. You're out there cracking skulls. But you turn into
let's see what they do because we tend to bring to light these subjects. Let's see what they do with Clay. If they continue to do that, I just don't see.
But by the way, I don't like that you're blowing up his spot. Like, why are you calling out Clay Harbor? He's getting away with it. Let him do it. By the way, it's also an NFL policy. Like, it's an NFL policy that says, and this goes for everybody. You know what? Reporters from around the country have been called at home and been told, hey, you cannot have video up for more than 24 hours on social media. That is a league-wide policy. Now, that league-wide policy might be going away. I don't have any information on that, but it is
that is for the media though,
policy,
not for the fans. So when you go up and Larry Mayer is pointing out, he's filming. Like, Larry, you film. You do your job. That's all I'm saying. I would tell Larry if he was on this show too. I'm like, I just didn't like that.
Well, that's
when
the
I
thing.
saw
I mean,
the
you can have
video footage.
If I flew there from New York with my son and fucking Larry Mayers
Exactly.
point out that my son's up in the stands recording Justin Fields throwing to Darnell Mooney. I mean, that's crazy. I just don't understand.
They just want to take home a piece of the Bears. It's history.
Yeah.
And like I said, Adam, I know what you're saying. You're
Listen,
phenomenal. I'm not throwing praise on you for nothing.
Listen,
I went to Avengers Campus.
My sister works security for Disney. So I went to Avengers Campus. They literally took my phone, put like duct tape over it. Like they put a special tape over it, over this, put it in a bag. And then that's how you walked into this thing. And then when you walked out, they looked at it. And if they didn't, they were going to confiscate your phone. Like these companies do it. Listen, it's not right. Like if you want me to sign a memo, fine, I'll sign the memo. The next time I'm up there and I see Ben or Aaron, who, by the way, they do a tremendous job. I'm not going to BS you, okay? I've worked with plenty of teams, and they do a good job. They're trying their hardest. It's all good. I wish they would not single out kids, but again, who's of course, like you pick on a child.
You've done stand-up comedy. I get it. Your stand-up is your act.
Sometimes
you don't want them putting it all up on you.
I say offensive things. I talk about, fucking a dragon. That might be for the room. You know what I'm saying? Like that's for
Unless that dragon was fucking a goat.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's for the room, and the nuance of what's going on is
right. It's not for the network. We get it.
But at the same time, by the way, this is another thing I have to. Media, I love you all. You do a great job. There's some great work being done, and I know, but I always love when people are like, I don't want to like overreact because it's August 3rd, but I'm going to overreact for a second. Because I keep receipts, I went back and I found some of the stuff that people were writing about Joe Burrow last year. Yep. That Joe Burrow couldn't play football. Like he's never coming back from this knee injury. He's never going to get it. The Bengals are doomed.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Jamar Chase couldn't play football. Had
my God.
The moment of like sincerity, like this, Phil, I know this isn't what you mean when you talk about people being vulnerable, but this is the problem when people are truthful. You're like, yeah, I kind of like with the white stripe on the ball. It stood out. And then of course, every blog boy in Cincinnati was all of a sudden, drinking Rheingeist and be like, Jamar Chase will never play in this league. We should have taken the tackle. We should have taken Penny Sewell. And by the way, can I say something too, by the way? I don't mean to go off on a tangent or a rant.
Listen,
I just love when people are like, hey, I think the Lions, I'm curious about the Lions. Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry, who's their quarterback? Oh, it's still Jared Goff. What are we doing? Like, what is happening? Like I'll never understand. I'm like, you guys know who their quarterback is. Like, like the Vikings. Yeah. The Vikings have the most talented roster. You've never had the most talented roster top to bottom.
They scare nobody. If you beat them with Matt Nagy as your coach, you think you should be afraid. It's reality here. You should not be afraid. It is reality.
We're not afraid.
And we're
not afraid of any of those scrubs.
If an analyst said, oh, Aaron Rodgers is back, 2 losses for the Bears, what would you say to him?
Wait, Aaron Rodgers is doing drugs now and just being like, yeah, I started hallucinating from pain. And you're like, holy fuck. Like Josh Gordon got suspended for 30 years for smoking weed. And you're just like, I was drinking this.
I don't give a. So let's get the auction underway.
I was like, I don't know. I'll probably get in trouble for this. I won't. I would say this on Total Access, so I'm not afraid.
Go ahead,
Aaron. Like no, but like nobody says anything. Like I'm sorry. What did you just admit to? Like what is happening? What did you do? Like
what was the other thing he admitted to? And it just got brushed.
You know what it was?
It was
overinflating the football.
Exactly. And
he's like, I overinflate the football. He's like, good one. Yeah, good one. You're like, what the effing fuck? Tom Brady is suspended for 4 games. For 4 games. Because some ball boy. And by the way, let me tell you something too. And this happens more than people want to admit in the NFL. Yes. If your job is providing the balls for the kickers, the quarterback, whomever, you know how he likes it. You like the ball overinflated? Yeah, I'm going to try to put as much juice into that as possible.
I got it up.
Boom. Done. You take a little out of it. You know what? That's what happens in the NFL. But Tom Brady, they love suspending Tom Brady. 45.
The GOAT.
He just sits there and eats avocado ice cream and keeps chugging along. He doesn't he doesn't have like weird tattoos. He doesn't like grow his hair out. He doesn't show up to training camp looking like Nick Cage. And it's like, I'm sorry, did you just not get outscored by the 49ers special teams in the playoffs as you lost again? Do you remember a time? You and I might be old enough to remember this. A lot of these kids today, they don't know this. They don't remember this as a fact, but there was a time where it was unheard of that any road team would go to Lambeau and win a playoff game. Yeah. It was just unheard of. Like during the 90s when the Cowboys were smoking them, they're like, nobody wants to come to Lambeau. You're like, well, here comes Michael Vick, smokes them. Here comes, now it's the 49ers all the time. Like, it's hilarious.
The Giants, Tampa Bay
Giants went in there. The Giants were 9-7 and beat them. Tampa Bay won their NFC Championship game, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if I'm thinking about oh God. How did I forget that? Like, it's over. It's over. Like, there's no mystique. Like, sorry, you guys. There's what did I do?
Clowning Sharon Rogers. They're enjoying that.
Let's not listen.
That. I can read it for you. I'm surprised.
It's the and the Con Air thing. Like, don't ruin my favorite movies. Like, don't try to I don't want you to show up as The Rock from San Andreas next year. Otherwise, I'll be super pissed.
I want to address Bear With Me. And he says, love my Bears, all the content maker, but we can't be homers. Goff's damn record or career thus far isn't that bad. Goff is awful.
Okay, Goff, by the way,
is a pussy.
What? That's Sean McVay. That was Sean McVay. Look at Jared Goff with Jeff Fisher and Dan Campbell. Look at his non-Sean McVay era and be like, that guy. Not like, listen, Jared Goff, if I was playing intramurals on the beach,
I always say this.
I'd be like, hey, Goff's got to be our quarterback. Like, right? Although he's such a great athlete, you'd probably want him to be the receiver. But like, he would probably be the quarterback. I played in a flag football league one time with a former UCLA quarterback named Matt Stevens. And it was incredible, like how good this guy was. You're like, oh, wow, this guy throws a nice football. You're like, or was it Drew Olson? No, it's Matt Stevens. And you're like, oh, it's Matt Stevens. He played at UCLA in 81 or whatever it was. No, he's not that old. But like, still, like, that's pretty impressive. So Goff would be good in that sense. If you're at Dave and Buster's and he's out there on one of those machines, probably be all right. But compared to other NFL quarterbacks, no. Do you not think so?
I agree with you 100. If you had Justin Fields and Jared Goff and you're the gym teacher, which guy are you picking to play quarterback for? It's that easy. Goff has done, and this isn't like, I'm getting after Detroit. I'm just, If Goff was on the Rams, I'd be saying the same thing. If he was on the Jets,
I would give him a little bit more credit because he would have Sean McVay be like, all right, then something he's figured out. But Sean McVay gave up on him. Like that's like I don't know why more people don't understand this. Like Sean McVay is like, nope, this guy sucks. I'm sorry, don't take my word for it. I'm going to take the word of the Super Bowl champ, Sean McVay. He determined that Jared Goff was not a great NFL quarterback. I will take his word for it. And by the way, speaking of that, at what point when somebody was like, hey, is Matt Stafford like worked himself into the Hall of Fame conversation? I said, why are we having a conversation about, is Matt Stafford better than Aaron Rodgers? Like they both have the same number of Super Bowl titles. And Matt Stafford has not lost 4 NFC championship games. Like, I think of anything, like we should be talking about like, maybe Detroit did kind of screw him. Like that, it seemed different when he was with a different organization. And I'm not saying he's the best in the world or the best of all time. Yeah. I just feel like that's one of the things this offseason that's like non-Bears wise that's driven me crazy. Like, why don't we give Matt Stafford a little bit more credit? For like that Detroit organization's a pile of trouble.
You've had one of the best, arguably the best running back. Obviously, I put Peyton at the top, but some people will say Barry, and that's fine. We could debate. But Barry Sanders retires. Calvin Johnson retires. You're getting out of that. And that.
Hold on. They actually paid money. They paid money to stop playing for the Lions. Each of those guys had to give back millions of dollars to just say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes. It's a great thing. And then back to Minnesota. And again, there's so many unknowns to your point, and that's what I was trying to push back a little bit with Dionne. The defense is always going to be ahead of the offense. The offense is just in its infancy. Yeah. I don't know if you heard my analogy, but in Green Bay, Getsy and company, they had, a car that just needed oil change, get back in. That's it. Here, we're starting from scratch. So everybody's learning. Then you got offensive line stuff going on. So it's very important that everybody tap the brakes with this offense because you don't even know who the right tackle is. The center broke his hand with shorts on. This stuff, and then you got the Teven Jenkins drama and controversy going on. So there's so much on the offensive line alone than Justin. You can't get a great read about a quarterback in training camp practices. You just can't. In year 10, maybe you're going to be, or year 6, maybe you're expecting a perfect showcase. He goes out there, he knows everything. Boom, he checks, he gets it to the thing. Right now, there's so much information going on in Justin Fields. And to your point, I'm glad you're defending him in his second year because this offense is going to be predicated where it wasn't before on Justin Fields' skill set. And if you start there and use David Montgomery in these inside, outside zone with the bootleg, this kid is going to, once it clicks, he's going to dominate. And the whole course of narrative, to your point about Joe Burrow in preseason last year, could actually, and I believe it will happen here in Chicago. Yeah. You got to speak to him.
I did. Wait, no, I didn't.
What are your thoughts? No, you didn't speak
to Joe Burrow?
Justin.
No, I didn't get no. They left that for Kyle Brandt. He got to talk to Justin.
Yes.
That's all right. Listen,
Kyle said you own this show. I was like, wait a second. Did Rank tell him that?
No,
Shayne
never.
wanted to confront you on that. I was like,
no.
He's got his new best friend, Alan Bratcher. Remember?
He's like, who the fuck's that guy?
He goes, do you know Adam Rank? He's like, yeah, he's my
we're friends. This is your friend up there, Rank. He took ownership. I think your boy Brandt thought he was me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the video, right? So
I saw the video.
So yeah, he thought that Alan was me. So he was interacting like that.
Oh, geez.
Now you're putting it together. But seriously, Your thoughts on Justin Fields, though, are step for step with me?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, it is one of those things. And I say this when I'm golfing with my buddy. And, it's like, hey, you know what? Sometimes you're sitting there and it's like 70 yards. And you're like, I can have a good swing. And I missed the pin by 10 yards or whatever on the green or whatever. Like, hey, like, I'm not Rory McIlroy, like I'm going to make a mistake, but the swing was good. Everything was good. And right now, what you want to make sure when you're watching Justin Fields, like, is the footwork good? Is he making the right reads? Is he doing what he needs to do? Is he avoiding the pressure? There's going to be some drops. And that's one of the things that, again, that kind of drives me crazy is that people are like, you can't have these drops. And like, it's August 2nd. You actually, you can. Like, it happens. Like, you miss throws, you miss things. You don't want him missing reads. You don't want him not being able to see coverage, which I don't think is the problem. The play, and I'm referring to the play yesterday where he missed in Keel Harry, and you're like, yeah, okay, like, but he got the right read. He knew where to go. He saw it. He overthrew him. Okay, fine. We'll work on that. That's what practice is for. You go out, you miss a putt. Okay, we're gonna learn from that. Then they went out there and they ran another play, and they went out and boom, nailed it. Okay, cool. They're back. They got it. They worked on it. They moved on.
Exactly. That's what practice is for.
And I've been to practices this season. I did not have the impression where you're like, God, like this guy aren't even playing NFL football. And then like one was way better than the other. Now, granted, one of them that I went to was Cincinnati, who did not have Joe Burrow. But it's not like you were like, no disrespect to them, but it wasn't like, this is a well-oiled machine. And by the way, that's a team with their fourth-year head coach coming off a Super Bowl with Jamar Chase and all these other guys. They're still, and again, Joe Burrow's not there, but they're still making mistakes. Okay, it is. Exactly. It happens. It happens.
They're making mistakes with the Rams in their practice.
Yeah,
they're making mistakes everywhere. That's the part of this that transpires. That's where you make your mistakes. That's where you teach. It's the only way to teach.
That's where you want it to happen.
Exactly. Then when it's game day, listen, I was talking about how many good weeks of practice Mark Trestman's team had and how many great weeks of practice Matt Nagy's team had. And all of that surmounted to what? Nothing. So this guy's doing it the right way. He's building a culture and they're building an offense that actually works in the NFL. Now there's pieces of the puzzle that Shayne, Cars, you, and myself have all said, they got to get better at certain positions. But the defense being ahead of the offense is no shock on August 3rd. What is it? How many days of pads? The second or third day? Come on.
Second day.
Second day. 2 days. 2 days of pads. That's what we're dealing with.
By the way,
go ahead.
No. I'm with you. I agree with everything you said. I just have to bounce here real quick. But I wanted to tell you one thing. David Montgomery, he knew who I was, by the way. Did I tell you this? He knew who I was.
I hope he does.
He came up and said, hey, I've been wanting to talk to you. And I'm like, are you talking to me or Stacey Dales? He's like, no, you. He's like, I appreciate you. Because then before we went on, he was like, he's like, a lot of people say terrible things. And then he goes, but not him. But like a lot of people. I'm like, why would I ever say anything negative?
I've shared with him how classy you are in keeping it 100 fashion. And he recognizes that. I thought today your interview with him and your presence there, obviously me and you were a little late in communicating. It would have been a great moment. But the reality is you, my friend, do a tremendous job carrying the torch of all Bears fans. And you can F the haters. I'm pissed that I had COVID and me and Steph were going to meet up with you and take you to New Haven.
My God, yeah. I almost, what's funny is I almost went down to Park Ridge tonight. Stacey Dales had a spot down in Park Ridge where we were going to but she couldn't go. And I'm like, next time I come out, I'll go with her. And again, like I said, I just drove over. I just started driving. I'm like, there's no doubt in my mind I'm going to find a pizzeria. And I found one of the best ones in Wheeler, Joey's Pizzeria. If you're in the Wheeler area, go check it out.
Pizzeria.
Go check it out. Nice people. The owner's name is Greg. I had a wonderful time. I will post some photos, but it's been a great. Oh, by the way, the people who stopped me today, like there's some people. We had a lot of fun interactions. Like people were like, "Hey," saying what's up, and everybody was respectful. Everybody's having a good time. I feel like the Bears do a nice job. I think there is an energy. I think there is a positivity. I think people are having fun. I think like it's different, like with the music, because like I was talking to some of the other people. They're like, yeah, like now that we have like the DJ and there's some music, and like it just seems different. There are things I can't share, but talking to people who I know and respect that are like, yeah, it's way different. Like it's way better. And even like talking to like, talking to Jalen Johnson and talking to other guys, like you add like, I mean, what do you think? Like a coach runs in and he's like, we're going to do hits, loafs, like all the stuff, all the acronyms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm in, like they're like, and even Jalen admitted, like he was like, I was a little concerned when he first came in. Like I would have to do a lot of running. It's just showing me like what was going on, what's not going on anymore. And they're all about business. Like they are punctual. They're all about business. Jalen would not miss a meeting. Like he was petrified. We were about to go live on the air. He goes, I don't care. It's like, I cannot be late to my 2:00 meeting. I don't want to deal with that. So I'm like, I respect you. So we're going to make sure that you get there on time. But it just shows you. Not he wasn't like, yeah, whatever.
Exactly. Me and you have talked many times. The Matt Nagy hype about the locker room and the culture wasn't real because it wasn't showing up on the tape. The culture now is being held accountable to. This is a critical point that Adam's making to you. Every kid who's ever dreamed of playing in the NFL is dreaming of being interviewed on television.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he's telling you.
Listen, and Jalen loves to talk. Like Jalen's not afraid of the microphone.
Yes.
Like he's great. It's not like I'm worried about this. Some guys are shy. I don't get the feeling that Justin loves being in front of the camera all the time, which is cool. Like you don't have to be. It's not really I don't care about that, but as much as other things, but you got to do what you got to do.
Well, you do a tremendous job, man.
Listen, I love everybody, and listen, I love the Bears media, and I love it. They do a great job, and there's a lot of great content coming out from everybody, and I appreciate the job that they do. I'm going to end up being toxically positive, which I've been told by Sam Blum of The Athletic that I'm a toxically positive person. I'm like, I'm sorry that I don't hate shit as much as you do. And I'm an angry person.
You bring the truth, and you also bring a level of positivity to every broadcast. I love how you're not afraid to throw our network out there too. And seriously, you promote us, and I want to say to your face, rather than a text, that means a lot to me. You're authentic, and anybody hating on Adam Ray, you send your hate to me and Shayne. Because Adam is a tremendously great stand-up guy, and I'll break his chops when I don't agree with him. Me and him debate, but I know where the loyalty is, and I know every time you come on this show, you bring that fire and that passion, and I love it. I love it, and I love you, man. I'm glad you were out there. I was just disappointed. My guys were so excited.
Are they around tomorrow? Tell them if they're still in town.
Where are you going to be?
I'm flying out of O'Hare.
Hold on, look at this.
Where are you going to be, Adam?
I'm flying out of O'Hare at 4:00, so I'll have time in the morning or the afternoon.
Wherever
I
live on the northwest side.
So you're close to? Am I in Dearborn? Deer Park? Where am I?
You're in Deerfield.
Deerfield.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Deerfield, right by Wheeler.
Right.
Yes.
And Lake Forest. Lake Forest is over there. Wheeler's over there.
Yep.
I think Indiana's over there.
Listen,
it's tough for me to get my bearings. Park Ridge.
Ivan will make wherever you are, right? Ivan, what do you want to do? Lunch?
Yeah. Do you want to film?
Oh yeah, I could go to fucking Deer. It's a hop, skip, and a fucking. I mean, for me, I could do whatever.
Let's figure out. I could come to you. I have a car.
Yeah.
Have Phil hook us up. Yeah, we'll do.
I'll
let's
hook you
film
two
something.
up.
Fine with me.
We'll film some stuff. You gotta love this guy. Adam Rank is the real deal. And real quick, as you go out, man, as you go out, I know you gotta go, and you're probably gonna say goodnight to the kids, and that's the father you are. David Montgomery talked about being a father, and you could see the change in his demeanor and vulnerability. That stuff matters. But I wanted you to talk about.
Did you see? Like, I was like, "Hey, don't tell me the sex of the baby. I want to be."
Yeah, I saw that on NFL Network. That was hilarious.
Why am I so stupid?
Because I would be surprised too.
David, we're on the same
page. Be surprised too. But someone said it in the presser. I don't know if you saw when your baby. It was Herb and David Craig. We don't know the sex of the baby yet. He's like,
did he say because Adam Rank doesn't want to know?
Yeah.
Adam
and I are keeping that private. He said, "I think that's what he said."
I don't want to know.
The Godfather, Adam Rank, is
the Godfather
to the Montgomery child. Yes. But yeah, all of that. What did you think of Coach Eberflus, though? You get a good read on people.
We're bro. Like he started waving at me like he knew me, and I'm like, "Hey, coach," like whatever. Like he was going into his presser, and he came out. It was easy for us to. It was easy for us because, I'm trying to break the ice a little bit with him. And I'm like, hey, I go, your daughter goes to Chapman University in Orange, California. And he's like, oh, she just graduated. He's like, why? I go, oh, because I'm a guest lecturer there. So, so he's like, no way. And we started talking about it. And Stacey Dales had lived in Orange when she got, so we had a nice little chat about that. Like, we broke the ice and whatever. And then I was like, trying to ask him a question. Like, I'm trying not to be insulting because I'm trying to get like a real question, but it's just like, hey, the offense hasn't done great, which is cool for you because you're a defensive minded coach. But at some point you're like, I got to see something out of the offense. Like, what's going on? But I don't know how to spit that out sometimes. I get tongue tied. He's got piercing blue eyes that were like not off putting, but it's intimidating. You're like, I don't know how to talk to you, sir. He's more handsome than I thought he was going to be, which is like, this is tough. This is almost like you're almost like a fake coach from like you're doing a show on the CW. And you want this and it pissed me off because I was like, because he was talking about the other day about going for it on fourth down.
Yes.
I'm like, that was one of my questions that I didn't get to. Whereas I'd be like, bro, let's make Brandon Staley look like Bud Grant. Make him look that conservative. Let's just cut our punter. We're not even going to carry one. Like, let's do it. Like, let's go.
Santos do both.
Santos, if we have to punt, Santos will do it.
He can do both.
Who is the kid? I can't even remember the kid's name. He did pick number 16 again. I'm like, does our punter just have to be designated 16? Like,
Trenton
we're ruining it.
Shayne knows it, right?
Yeah, Trenton Gill.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Trenton
Shayne
Gill.
knows it well.
By the way, you know who I like? The tight end from Simon Fraser.
The kid
Ryan,
they got
Ryson John.
Yeah, Ryson.
Ryson John. I was like,
Giants had him last year.
He is supposedly a really tremendous former basketball player turned
6'7", I believe.
He's
right?
a big, he's very.
So is that a sleeper we should be watching? He was one of the guys I want to understand because Jesper Horsted, who I liked out of Princeton, he got cut.
Got snatched up.
They picked this guy up.
No, they tried to sneak him through, and the Raiders were like, "No, we're not doing that. We're taking him." The Raiders were on top of it. Listen, Ryan Poles is doing a great job. He's still got some things.
Like
to learn.
it?
It's okay. Yeah,
You
he's
like
fine.
it? Did you get to meet him?
No.
Yeah.
I just by the way, you see on my Instagram story, I'm pretty confident that was Trevis Gibson shouting me out as I was filming that.
He probably
but I'm not
was.
sure.
Really?
I think that's who it was. It might not have been. But listen, I got to run.
My goal is to get you real quick to start
do an extra 10 minutes.
Bears training camp. We need you covering the Bears. That's my push. I know I put it out there on my Instagram and my Facebook, and I tagged you in it. I believe that because I feel like you're funny, you're authentic, and you're
Oh, thank
passionate. You might love the Bears too much, but you admit that in the presence of the commentary, which makes it even more authentic and fun.
You're not Stacy.
You know
Stacy called it out too. She's like, this guy was born down the street from where we're at right now. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like Lutheran High School. I'm like, no, it wasn't a high school. It was an actual hospital. But
go ahead.
But yeah, the Lutheran Hospital in Park Ridge is where I was born. And
I know I'm keeping him on. I love this guy.
No, because somebody wrote real quick.
Real quick.
Deep dish pizza. Did I mention this story all the time? I probably did. I gotta go. I'm already repeating.
No.
It's a new audience.
You didn't repeat the story.
It's a new audience.
Got a new group coming in, Adam.
Hey, for those of you that just joined us, deep dish pizza is kind of like turkey dinner. We only do it once a year when relatives come to town. Yeah. Otherwise, there's no point in it. It's like it's fine. I don't.
It's all tavern style, man.
All Stephanie and I wanted at
Joey's Pizzeria in Wheeler.
I didn't get the best deep dish though. So the next time I want to try the best deep dish, but Chicago can't compete with New Haven pizza.
All right. This place with a New Haven style, like that I was going to go to in Park Ridge with Stacy.
When you start stating it, New Haven style. That shows you. But anyway, let's let you go because I could keep you on talking about the new Marvel movie for God's sake. And
I'm not a Marvel guy.
I know.
Don't even start with me.
You love the Star Wars though.
Star Wars is great. Wait, hold on. I got to shout this place out. So Joe's Pizzeria in Wheeling. Joe's Pizzeria.
You said Joey's. Okay,
whatever.
Joe's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you drive by? You're like, hey, there it is. Joey's. Oh, it's Joe's. You got to be wrong. You got it wrong. I'm sorry. I've been there one time in my life.
Listen, I'm just trying to give them a promo.
Panino's Pizzeria, Park Ridge. I guess they do a New Haven style. I haven't tried it. Stacy Dale says it's amazing. Next time I'm in town,
be at any Chicago Bears games this year.
Who knows? I don't know. They're very protective.
Tonight we're announcing the game we're going to. And we're having
don't spoil it for me. Okay. Don't spoil it for me. I gotta run. God bless all of you. Thanks for having me. I know somebody's probably waiting. I just did.
Nobody's waiting, Adam.
I just did what Dionne did. Maybe making me wait. I'm sitting there. I can see the clock. Like that's always the worst. Yes. You're at the Improv and you're like, I can see how do you not see that? I got into a fight with a comic one time. Like, how did you run the light? He's like, I didn't know. I'm like, there's a big fucking clock right there. How do you run the light? Like, how do you not know your material enough? Like, there's times you're like, I know what I'm doing for 15 minutes. And I swear to you, and there's a clock in front of me. If I had not seen it with my own eyes, I would have never believed it. I was about 6 minutes of material into my set, and it was 13 minutes. And
I'm like, deal with a heckler? You ever deal with a heckler?
I always have that. Always.
Oh, really?
Some guy, whatever.
Video of that? Any video of that?
Okay. No, because I had the security guard go take the video. But in any event, gotta go. It's been lovely. I'll see you next time. Tune into the Sick Podcast tomorrow.
Okay. What time?
Whatever.
I'm doing it. You said. What did you say?
No, it's done. I didn't hear it's almost done. Just listen to
tomorrow. The Sick Podcast. Follow Adam Rank on all the socials. If you're not already doing it, I don't know what rock you're living under, but also go over to the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank. Give it a subscription on YouTube. I love this dude. It's the only I listen to 2 podcasts. Yours
and Kyle Branson one.
No. And Olin Kreutz, the No Name podcast. Those are the 2 podcasts that I enjoy.
He does that with Jason. He does that with Jason McKeon.
Oh yeah.
Both of those, by the way, both of those podcasts are on AM 1530 WCKG in Chicago. The Chicago homes. The Chicago homes for both those shows.
There you go. And I listen to them both. I love you, Adam. Seriously.
Love you guys. Oh, I love you. No, sincerely.
We're gonna make sure
I was ready to walk. You almost walked me with your first opener, but I stayed true.
I'm sorry. I'm never gonna live this down. All right. He's
We'll see
Adam
it.
Rank. I love you, man. Have a great
Love you.
night.
Thank
Tomorrow, I will hook you
Yeah.
up with Ivan.
Hook us up.
And we'll
We'll
take
get
care of
something.
the bill.
We'll film something for sure.
Definitely,
Should be
definitely.
easy.
All right.
Unless that dragon was fucking a goat.
All right, I gotta go. I'm out.
Adam Rank. You love him. Some of us are
He's
friends with him.
the man.
Others of us pretend to be.
Smoke weed every day.
Oh no.
Breaking news. The Tape Never Lies Network. Breaking news.
Adam Rank, somebody that talks more than Phil. Right?
Listen.
Killed it, man.
Oh shit.
That was great.
Cars and Ryan Cox and I were texting. We're like studying Phil's face, and Phil's like not talking at all. Everybody, we were dying laughing, looking at Phil's face.
You looked bored as fuck, Shayne.
Well,
Really?
I was.
We thought you were
I
gonna fall
was.
asleep.
I was
Yeah.
working behind the scenes because
He's building
taking care
something.
taking care of some business behind the scenes. But
Nice. All right.
I love
Yeah.
that about Shayne. He's always taking care of business. Listen, if you're not taking care of business, I am.
we did get a
And
picture of Phil
unfortunately-
though, right here. That was live when Adam was talking.
There's me crying. I felt.
Oh shit.
Anyway, I'm taking care of business this season. Bears Hour Live will be back, and we will kick it off right after Chiefs versus Bears on that opening preseason night. Shayne and I, my dad, and many other people, including you fans, you passionate fans, will be
If you're a
jumping on the
patron, we
channel.
might.
Yes.
We haven't talked about it, but we might watch we can't stream the game, but
Can't
you can
stream
see
it.
us react to it live.
Might do that. Here it is, Bears Hour Live. Just to remind Bratcher, we don't need to remind Ivan. He was actually, that's how we met Ivan on Bears Hour Live. It's the best Bears post-game show, bar none.
I don't give a fuck about your play call or how good you think you can be and creative. The last time a creative coach won a Super Bowl was never to throw that flag. Don't give me no fucking taunt. We know what it was. He bumped into you. He's emotional. So am I. So is my kid. So is every fucking fan in the stadium. Telling him, go fuck yourself. Every person in this fucking country saw this shit. These players lack discipline, tackling, blocking.
I just can't believe he didn't fucking put tight ends in the second half to help.
Why? I think you have to keep that
Like,
kind of mentality
I just,
whatever situation.
it infuriates me to the point of anger, laughter.
Growth. This is going to be the night that we look back at as Chicago Bears fans when we can say in unison, we have a fucking quarterback. It started tonight.
Bears Hour Live. That'll be back right there. Shayne and I obviously getting fired up. You can't fake authenticity. At least you could try, but it's always going to, come out at some point, or you're never going to be able to, handle. Everyone thinks they can break down film, but 90% of people, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's what I see. And I'll say 80% of people. But a lot of people are out there trying to do certain things, that's fine. Do whatever you like, but there's no way you can mess with passion and authenticity. That's the stuff. That's the stuff that gets the goose. And that's what you get at Bears Hour Live. I know a lot of people could say whatever it is that they want, but I know Shayne Marsaw does his homework and brings the factual to the actual. And I love doing that show with you. I'm so excited about this season because I don't know what to expect from the head coach and this offense and all of those things. So I only can predict a guess because that's where we are in guessing mesh points and zone concepts and all of these,
That's what we talked about. There's gonna be a lot of questions answered by week 4. You know what I mean? We're gonna see how he reacts, what he's like post game. If somebody is out there loafing, are they yanked out of the game? Are they sitting down the next week? Is it going to be that can't go out there and preach next man up philosophy and not live it? So that's what it's all about, man. I don't think anybody should be surprised that these guys are struggling on offense. This, I forget who it was. I got into a debate last night on Twitter, and he was saying, the Bears have been trying to win a Super Bowl by building the defense, since '85, and it's not working. That's not what Ryan Poles is trying to do. If you go out there and you draft a player that you have lower on your board to fill a need and bypass better players, you're going to be a former GM very, very soon. If you want proof, go back and listen to this show leading up to the draft. We told you multiple times, Cars and myself especially, the way that this board is looking to me, it could be 2 defend. Don't be shocked. Nobody wanted to fucking hear
in history. Bratcher can cut it, or Ivan.
But that's the
audio
thing.
Lives, the video lives. We didn't go back and delete our fucking takes. We didn't.
You see George Pickens getting some positive pub out of Pittsburgh. That doesn't answer any. That doesn't mean that that he should have been the pick for the Chicago Bears. If I question your ability to analyze football, if you looked at the Bears last year and you told me that they didn't have major deficiencies in the secondary, it was a huge problem.
Yeah.
When was the last time that you've heard that? Have you noticed all of the positivity coming out of camp about Brisker, about Gordon, about Jalen Johnson? Eddie Jackson has had some good and bad. But still,
our defense of Kendall Vildor.
Absolutely, Phil. I thought about it the other day. That there was
there, and I was taking all this heat, but I'm watching the tape, and I'm like, the tape doesn't lie, Ivan. You know who lies? Those little fucks that are typing these things. They don't understand concepts and lack of fucking accountability. This kid.
We haven't even seen Thomas. Yeah, haven't even seen Thomas Graham yet.
No, he's been energetic out there. Like Vildor has been, he's been active. I mean, they just put the pads on for a couple days. Right, but he's been active. The secondary has been the most active. Like I mentioned before last show, I was like, well, our pop-up show on Sunday, the defensive speed, like the attitude is different. There's a different mentality there. It's not just that they're running around because they're fast. I get they didn't have pads on and such, but the mentality, you could see it out there. These guys are hungry. They're hitting. They're not wrapping up. Although there was it's a collision sport, so eventually there's going to be a collision. So there was a collision with somebody. I didn't see who it was in the secondary, but somebody put a stick on EQ. And he fumbled the ball and took it back, and defense went up and took it back. And it was like, the defensive speed from last year, the year before, 18 was an anomaly, right? Let's just call it what it was. The defense started regressing. I mean, you could talk about injuries and so, I'm not calling out any specific player, although we called out Eddie in particular. But for me,
definitely call him out. Yes.
Right. But for me, the mentality is different. The speed is different. The attitude is different. You could tell that they want to hit, but they're just thudding right now. Like it's just, but you're going to eventually start seeing maybe one or two boom collisions. If you know what I mean. I really think the defense is trying to get after it. It is early. The offense had some a couple big plays. They were a little lax last time I saw them, but I really feel like the offense is just focus on David Montgomery, focus on running the football, let Justin use his legs, let him roll out, let him start play action, like all that stuff. Let him build his portfolio as a quarterback. Like this, just build off the run. The run is going to be there. The passing game right now, I don't think it's all together there on the line. The run's going to be there. The run's going to be
Fields
there.
holding the ball kind of long too. That's something I noticed.
Right.
This Cars, you can speak on this part of it too, but I was going to bring it up with Dionne, and I just didn't get the chance. And I've heard Hogan Johns talk about it. I've heard different people talk about it, saying, "Well, that would have been a sack, and the play would have been over." But that's not who Justin Fields is. Justin Fields is the quarterback. Yes, I understand he's going to get sacked. It's going to happen. We saw it in the Cleveland game. But he's also a guy. Were you going to blow that play dead against San Francisco on 4th and 1 last year?
Right.
Would they have blown it dead? He's the guy
that's not going to go scramble like that in this drill, right? They're just going to call it, do it.
But that's you want these guys to get accustomed to still going, because that's going to be, unfortunately, that's going to be a big part of what they do. Getting out of quarterback's going to get you out of trouble. You can get chunk plays that way. But I just find that to be a cop out from the media to pile on that way. I understand you're not going to get 110% effort as an offensive lineman and defensive lineman in these practices, because you just can't. These guys want to go against somebody else. You're not even going to see 110% effort in preseason. You're going to see it week 1. That's when the lights come on, and that's when this will get really real. But I don't want to hear, that would have been a sack, so the play is over. No, because our quarterback can buy you that ability to get out of trouble and make big chunk plays. So that's why you shouldn't blow it dead.
Well, and you're having an offensive line learning. You're learning an offense. All of this stuff is happening on a practice field where the CBA controls the amount of contact and the amount of effort those guys could put in. And there's all these underwritten rules to practice. So to Shayne's point, the perfect example, actually, Shayne, is what you're showing is the 49ers game. Mm-hmm. This is the athlete that he is. So don't think that some of these plays aren't going to be designed to allow pressure for him to scramble or draw them in and screen behind them. All of the stuff Matt Nagy refused to do because he didn't really want Justin Fields cards. You were going to say something. I apologize.
No, the other portion about that, right, is at best case, it's 3 new starters on the offensive line at 3 key positions, and they are potentially. And I'm sure one of the things we'll talk with Braxton taking the full first team LT snaps today, and that change. So it's not just that it's new people. There is still some positional change. They're learning how to communicate. They're learning on how to hand off, blocks and all these different pass protection things. And when the people change, sometimes the impact of that changes. And that's a good thing to be doing right now in day 7 of practice. Would be a lot worse if it were day, 70 of practice and we were still doing that. So some of these things are going to happen just because, to your point and to this, is that we're trying to figure out who's in a position and who's going to own that position, who's going to take that position. And then everything will start to be a little bit more consistent across that offensive line.
Come on, Shayne.
I was going to say, the lack of having Lucas Patrick there, right? That's familiarity with your center and your quarterback. And honestly, the entire offensive line, that's your leader. That's where it starts, the point of attack. Not having that familiarity, and now you got to get used to is it going to be Kramer? Kramer was in there with the ones today. Is it going to be Mustard? I think if you have Kramer healthy, it's a different story. I mean, not Kramer. If you have Patrick healthy, it might be a different story with the offense right now. You might be seeing maybe some bigger plays, maybe some calls being made on the line. But now you have two young offensive linemen, and Sam Mustipher's still young, and we've seen how he could be a negative in a way for the offensive line if he doesn't complete his assignment. But I think
I got it up.
Thinking about Lucas Patrick, man, if they could find some consistency, if it's Kramer, if it's Mustipher, whatever, just make sure you know who the hell is going to be your center if Patrick can't go come week 1.
Totally have to get the center in there. We haven't seen, obviously, Lucas Patrick and pads. This is only the second day of pads. I like the fact that coach came out and said, yeah, we're probably going to do it Friday and Saturday, or maybe flip-flop and do Saturday no pad and then come back on Sunday with pad. You got to understand the importance of the CBA's hindrance in this, because it is a real one that coaches all are complaining about. I just don't understand, and I'm going off on a mini rant here, how the NFLPA comes to this kind of safety issue when practice in a collision sport is so important to preach and teach fundamentals, but we're going to limit the time of physicality. It's crazy. I think only 3 practices during season are allowed to go live. That to me doesn't even, team wise, you can go live team. That doesn't even equate.
They were talking about that today. I believe it was Hogan John's talk. They're talking about, talking with the pads and talking about Teven Jenkins. And Adam Hogue, I believe he said, since he's been a Chicago Bear, he's only been involved in 3, maybe it was 4 practices total since he's been a Chicago Bear that have been a padded practice. And Cars, you tweeted it out yesterday, I believe, talking about how, what was the last 5 games of his final season at Okie State he sat out, correct?
Yeah, he sat out 5, missed pretty much every practice last year. He's hit 1 this year. And and you read, I don't want to put too much into it, but there were some reports of him having breakdowns during tough practices at Oklahoma State. We go back to Mike Gundy saying, over the last 18 months, he really found his passion or desire to play, which seems to line up with right after Gundy told him he could make $30 or $40 million to do it, right?
Yeah,
and
that's sad. There's a serious issue here that.
So go around. Does anybody expect? I mean, I know I wasn't on the show with Herb, but I think it kind of caught everybody off guard. And I know it's not really arguing semantics, but Herb said he didn't expect him to make the 53. But I mean, if they trade him, does anybody expect? I mean, everybody's expecting him to be a former Chicago Bear here coming up in the next handful of days. Would everybody agree, or does anybody want to push back on it?
I don't think Teven Jenkins wants to be here himself. That tweet that he put out.
Right, exactly. He didn't help him.
That could have been, honestly, and for anybody.
Well, I didn't see the tweet.
He just said that for
Jackal ain't doing his job.
I'm fine. Don't believe in everything that you hear.
Right. But to me, that was like, you didn't have. First of all, you didn't have to put that out there. If you're okay, you're going to show up to practice and be ready to go. But to me,
it's like going in the chat room and promoting your own show.
Right. It's like
you don't do that. I mean,
it's like,
come on.
I'm okay, but the Bears aren't okay.
I'm
like,
okay.
That's how I see Teven acting. That's
the
how
Bears,
I see Teven. But the Bears have an issue.
That's scary. That's scary. Because listen, I don't know if I've been that excited to get Justin Fields and Teven Jenkins. And now to be here, to come full circle, and what Cars is talking about, doing some research here, that's an indictment on Pace, man. I mean, I say it again, sitting across the table from somebody that doesn't love the game of football, I can find out in 3 seconds. Come on. How do you, if this kid doesn't love the game or has trouble with tough coaching or expectation, that's not going to help a
Greg
NFL
Gabriel,
football.
I believe it was Gabriel, wasn't it? Sitting down with Windy City talking about it. Two independent people that he talked to. Go ahead, Cars.
Yeah, two people in front offices that flat out pulled him off of their draft boards because of the concerns about mental toughness. Everything goes back to mental toughness. You know, when you look at what Nagy and the team said last year during the preseason, it was just as non-committal, right? Like, and all the reports that came out that the Bears thought he could play through that, and he just decided not to. There is so much to unpack, and the unfortunate part of having all this information at the tip of our fingers is that we have all of this information there. But you may disagree with some of it, but there's enough pieces here that point to either immaturity or to Shayne's point, kind of this, and Phil's point, it's complete kind of lack of desire to or love of the game, I guess I would call it, that you have to start to wonder. And if the other guys are sitting here in sweltering heat and pads, and he's sitting in an air conditioning training room, like, he's going to lose the locker room, and it's going to be done.
He separates. Great point. I want you to know, once you get to a point where you're having to coddle someone too much.
Yes.
There's actually a line. I'm telling you right now. There's a line that the players will see, the locker room will see. Well, coach recognizes this kid's talent, so he's going a little further than maybe he would go with another guy, and that's okay because everyone gets it. It's about tapping into that potential and getting them to realize it. But once you go across this line of coddling, that it becomes selfishness from the guy that wait a second, you're a second round pick, you're making all this fucking money, and I'm out here, then that's where it's done. You can't have that in your locker room. I'm sorry, it can't. And I wanted Teven Jenkins on. The talent is unquestioned. But the point that I think we have to drive home, and I'm sorry that this offends some fucking people, it's not bragging. It's not praising the network when you fucking said it and did the work. It's just truth shared on a show. If I didn't do the fucking work, or Shayne didn't call this shit way back when, then I wouldn't be saying it here, and you would be pointing it out that we said this. No, you said the fucking Keepin It 100. Just Teven Jenkins tape is phenomenal. He's uber athletic for a big dancing bear, and he's a mauler, and he's got everything you want on tape. But Ryan Pace sitting across the table should have known that as much as that talent is on the tape, this interview and the research, Cars is going on his keys looking back on the Oklahoma State story of practice. These guys have $1 million scouting staff, and they couldn't find these finite details about, you got to send people to the lunchroom, his fucking hall monitor. What are they called? The AR? What are they called? RA, the RA. Resident advisor, or whatever they are.
The bad part about it is, Phil, just think about if Detroit had drafted Justin Fields last year. The Bears are sitting there at 20.
They took Teven Jenkins.
They're probably taking Teven Jenkins there. that's the sad part. I mean, he was connected to
Shayne, to your point, I'm sorry. There could be a mental health issue. And if it's not handled correctly, there's this fine line, guys.
David Montgomery's talked about mental health.
Exactly.
Ryan Poles has talked about it. I believe Roquan mentioned it at some point.
The guy they just hired to basically replace Soup, that is his background, right? Mm-hmm. That is a lot of what he's done.
Now, Cars, you and I know, and everybody should know, mental health, you could talk about it, but you got to embrace it. It's up to you at the end of the day. Is he going to do? I get it, man. I've been through so much this year. I get death. I know his mom died. I know the story, but I know 500 other stories like that too. It's not belittling. It's just
I'm not trying to be cold-hearted and saying that can't affect that can affect anybody, but you can also turn it around and saying you're not honoring her legacy at all. Going out this way.
Great point. He needs somebody in there. I agree with you, Alex Sims. I totally agree. Releasing him, in my opinion, I agree.
Well, they haven't.
But at some point, if a player,
they're not getting any third rounder like Alex was preaching last week. I'll tell you
that's the thing is, the longer this goes on, the more he damages his own value.
Exactly. It's
100% going to become that point.
To Ivan's point, he hurt himself yesterday by fucking tweeting that out. He did. He should have shut the fuck up and remained fucking silent. I'm good. Don't believe everything you read. Yeah. So you're good, but you're not practicing. So
it's just a reply to somebody. Yeah.
Right.
What's going on, man? Some reports coming out that are not very kind to you. Everything good? He writes, I'm good. Don't believe everything you read. And it got 91 quote tweets, 168. I can't read. Is it 98 or 68 with my eyes? And 1,493 likes.
168, 91 quotes.
There you go. Thank you, Jacko.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, and to go back to the money portion, him falling out of the first round, you got to remember, like Shayne, you just mentioned that we probably would have drafted him at 20. He thought he was going first round. That would have been 13 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
Getting where he was in the second round, 4.5 million. Please don't get me wrong. That's a lot of money. But in his mind, that deal
I'm a mailman. I know all about it.
Cost him $9 million, $10 million. And it's if he's sitting there going, I'm going to make 30 by doing this, it gets really interesting really quickly.
There he is.
I put that up for you, Jackal.
My man.
I would say, is Jack trying to say something? You trying to say something, Jack?
Go ahead, Ivan.
Okay, no, what I was saying about with Teven, imagine having that Anthony Miller moment, right, where he's fucking going off on the sideline, and because I believe the Bears are going to be a second half team this year. Mm-hmm. Imagine you're in the you're in the midst of a struggle, right? You're in the one of the ebbs and flows of the season, and this guy fucking loses it because he can't handle it, and he's going off on the sideline, going off on his teammates, going off in the locker room, doesn't want to fucking deal. If that's what he's expressing to the coaching staff and the front office right now, then believe him, because he's telling you what he wants. So if you don't want to do it over, like, all right, well, cool. They're not going to deal with your shit. Shayne's already said it. If you're not going to be a part of us, get the fuck out of our building, get the fuck out of our way, and let's go. Like that's what they're preaching right now.
They got rid of the best player I've seen in maybe forever that I've witnessed since Walter Payton and Khalil Mack in a Bears uniform. They got rid of him. Never thought that would happen. They did. They got let go of Akeem Hicks. You're seeing the whole tide of change. And I'm telling you, as a coach, guys, there is something to be said about what Shayne, Cars, and Ivan are saying. at some point, if you aren't buying into the culture, you become, for lack of I need to find another term because I hate using that word, the C word. So I'll just say you become a distraction.
Your liability.
And you become this weight, this fucking wet blanket. And it goes against everybody else is happy. Have you ever been around one of those people? You're all excited. You're going to the amusement park, the beach, wherever you're going. And then there's that one fucking person. You see them on Twitter. They don't have any AVIs. They just talk shit all day. Their life sucks. They probably have 70,000 tweets out there, whatever. They know everything. They do that, and that's their life. You know those people. They're the wet blanket. They're not going to help in surrounding and building a culture. They're just not. And I hate to believe that that's Teven because I'm in the seesaw. That I keep seeing the tape. Never questioning his tape. Never questioning his tape. Shayne also played in a few games, Alex. So this Teven Jenkins situation, to me, I never would believe that this has come to this. But
I'm just grabbing a picture.
You haven't even. He's not even practicing.
No,
right?
But
he wasn't out there. He wasn't out there. I haven't seen him.
We lost Shayne, but you're right. You were out there. He's not practicing. Peggy Kaczynski is going after the Bears. Adam Rank's probably pissed, but she's like, they're bringing Teven over here. Meanwhile, they really are. They're saying he's injured, but they want to trade him. They're working the phone lines. Ian Rappaport's reporting that.
Well,
all of this distraction is going on.
To me, that's the Bears. I think the Bears leaked that there's teams calling. They're trying to drum up business because I think they know that I mean, I said last week or whatever it was, maybe it was the pop-up show, conditional fifth at best. And I mean, at this point, it's either going to be a trade of Teven Jenkins for another underperforming guy like you saw with N'Keal Harry. You'll see that type of deal. Or it's going to be Teven Jenkins and a 7th for a 6th round pick or something along those lines. I mean, there was multiple people in the chat saying, oh, you got to hold out for a 2nd round pick or 3rd round pick. If a fucking team offered a 3rd round pick for Teven Jenkins, they would take it and fucking run. Somebody in the chat reported that, I forget where it is.
You don't call Atlanta?
Yeah, but that's the thing. That gets over. Yeah, Ryan Pace.
Yeah, everybody knows
he's
the one drafting him.
Yeah,
he would definitely take him because you see it.
Somebody in the chat reported that they knew somebody that said that Teven Jenkins was 350 2 weeks.
I saw that.
I saw that too.
That's Teven walking into the opening day of training camp. So I mean, the 350 report.
I heard he got the dentist.
He was Phil.
Okay. That's what I heard.
He doesn't. That doesn't look like a football. I mean, he's a big guy.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't look like he's putting work into his craft. Like it doesn't look like you're getting stronger. It just looks like you're a big guy, like just a naturally big, naturally strong type of dude. But there's guys out there that are putting in that work in the weight room, actually giving a damn when their coaches say, "Hey, I want you at this fucking weight. Be at that fucking weight." Like. And I'm not saying it's a weight thing. You know, obviously he's going through his own issues. We talk about the mental health issues. But as a player, get to the fucking weight, man. Like you're only in year 2 and you're in a new coaching regime. You gotta be able as a young player, and I'm not an NFL fucking player, but I would think as a young guy, as a young player, hungry, you got to be able to show them that I'm willing to do whatever the fuck it takes for this job, for my team and my teammates. And if you're not willing to do that, then you have to move on, or else it's just going to cause problems. Yeah. And I don't hate the guy. I was happy too. Give me a tackle or give me death, right, Phil? But if he's not the right guy, you got to get him the hell out.
And they didn't draft him.
Yeah. It's a crazy situation. Unfortunately, Cars and Shayne and myself have been through this probably the longest, with all of these distracting stories in camp, from Curtis Enos and the born again, whatever that religion. Remember all of that?
Yep.
That was after he
signed the contract. Oh my
Curtis
God!
Enos, they did it. The Bears drafted 2 running backs within the top 5 over a 6 or 7 year span. Neither one of them started as rookies. And you drafted them in the top 5. Both of them.
Top 5, and they're not even playing.
You draft a running back.
Always a distraction, man. There's always drawn. Now it's Roquan.
Imagine drafting a running back in the NFL in the top 5, and he doesn't start for your team. And you do it 2 times. You did it in 98, and you did it again in 2005
on a Super Bowl team.
Unreal.
Cam makes a good point there, and this is something you gotta realize. Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
Talk is cheap. I will honestly tell you, I got a text that day after that
from Olin. I don't know
if it was a text or a DM from Olin.
Olin talked about it on his show, Phil. He goes, I worry about people that say that.
Talk the talk, get into camp and walk the I'll never forget that moment. I'm like, Olin, this tape, man. I'm so excited. This kid's going to just show so many people because you're finally going to get a tackle that has an attitude. And here we are.
And you got to remember that too. That was the other part that came out of the reports. I think that it was Gabriel. It was like the scouts had said that there was concern that he was fake tough, right? Like that all of that came together, that it wasn't a genuine thing. And again, if you tie it back to Mike Gundy, 18 months, I told him he could make all this money. It does start to look pretty precarious.
Yeah, Dustin brings I actually forgot all about this, talking about it last year. He walked into training camp last year carrying fucking weights.
Yeah, fucking.
I'm like, motherfucker, they got every weight in the fucking world in the facility you're walking into. You see a photo op and you're carrying a fucking weight. To me, it
then hurts his back.
Well, I mean, I know that can help strengthen your core and all that, whatever. But it just sometimes the optics are more important than putting in the work. I mean, we all know people like that are worried about optics.
Optics, exactly. Yeah, we do. Optics,
metrics.
I'll stand up here and defend anyone that's doing the work, that's doing the right, and is teaching the right, not regurgitating others. Anyway, Teven's going to be a story, unfortunately, one that I didn't see coming and one that I wish wouldn't be. But to your point, Shayne, I don't know how many more days this can be a distraction to a new coach building a new culture. Now, maybe they can get through it and just leave him there. But I don't know.
This speaks to why the Bears are a rudderless ship for so long. 39th pick in the draft, and what did he play? 122 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was.
That's what we said the other day.
Dan Bazine never played a regular season football game for the Bears. He was a second-round draft pick. Jerron Gilbert, the pool jumper, third-round draft pick, played in 5 games in the NFL. Joaquin Iglesias, wide receiver, third-round draft pick, played 1 special team snap for the Minnesota Vikings.
Played
161. Yeah.
What about
161?
Mark Bradley?
Well, he showed flashes at least. That
was my guy.
He had a knee that was held together with duct tape.
John Theory.
John
Theory, first-round pick.
They've done it so often. Michael Okwo. He's going to replace Lance Briggs. Remember that name?
Oh, my God.
Linebacker out of Stanford. Third-round draft pick. didn't even make it out of camp as a rookie.
Gabe Karimi.
Gabe Karimi was the one I was going to say.
Gabe Karimi.
He got hurt, though. He tore his knee up.
How about the great back-to-back Will Sutton and Ego Ferguson draft?
Phil Emery.
Second and third, right?
Ego.
Love it.
You never mess with my ego. Chris Williams. That's right. Kevin White. Jonathan Bullard. Jose.
Wow. I bought a Kevin White jersey.
Jose Cotto.
Oh, Jack.
Top 10.
Man.
You had a Bullard jersey?
No, Kevin White. I thought I was hoping it was going to be an Amari Cooper jersey that year. And,
oh my God, Amari. Horonis
Pursue was another one. He tore up his knee at Family Fest.
Morgan.
Dionne, you can't throw James Morgan in.
No, it wasn't James. It's not even the name. It's Jordan Morgan.
Jordan Morgan.
Wasn't it Jordan Morgan? Wasn't that his name? That was a draft Dr. Phil Lauren Cox.
James Morgan, I thought it was the guard.
I think his name was
out of
Jordan.
The small school. He was like a 5th round pick, though.
Yeah.
Shea McClellan.
Oh, fucking hated it. I called you that night, and I'm like, I hated it. Hated that pick.
I tried to see the good in Shea.
Ugh.
Did he end up winning a Super Bowl with the Pats?
Yeah, he went to the Patriots after that.
Now he's on the farm.
They love them up here.
Yeah. Driving a fucking Palisade around 10th.
Palisade. David Terrell. LaDainian and Tomlinson.
Oh my God.
How was Rashaan Salam the all-time worst? He had 1,000-yard
Salam bad.
1,000-yard season, 10 touchdowns as a rookie.
Yeah. I'm a Cade McDown as all-time worst.
Ivan's a huge Rashaan Salam fan.
Yeah, Ivan's a big Salam fan.
I was genuinely
Here we go.
upset.
I'm
Jeremy. The auction underway on the first count here.
I'm not thinking Jordan Mills. The Bears drafted a kid at some point named Jordan Morgan. I'm telling you,
he was from like
a tackle out of Kutzman.
Probably was Jordan. You guys would know better.
I remember Phil and Lauren Cox are both huge fans.
Chris Leak, Florida.
He was
Whatever
a
happened
UDFA.
to my guy? What was the guy that I loved, but he went to the Chargers and he got hurt? The offensive guard, tackle. What was his name?
That Lance Lewis?
No. Lance Lewis, no. In that draft. I was trying to think of his name today all day. And I was like, Shayne.
You love the outside linebacker that went to them, Melvin Ingram.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was that Shea McClellan draft. But the offensive tackle, he had like a funny name, like oh my God, like Lamp.
Wait.
What was his name? Lamp.
What year was that draft?
Forrest Lamp.
Forrest Lamp? Is that it? There you go, Jamari. Forrest Lamp.
Oh, yeah.
God, thank you guys. Lamp.
That was another DDP Lauren Cox special.
Love that kid. That kid.
I love Lamp.
I love Lamp.
It was Jordan
Morgan looking at things
from
and saying if you
Kutztown.
love him.
Yeah, Jordan Morgan.
Jordan Morgan. What did I say?
People call me the simplest man, but I'm the fucking smartest man. Right? Right, Bullets?
No.
I gotta praise Alex Acevedo's John Gruden impressions. Got a lot of love. My dad loved it.
Phil, could you hear me? This is your dad speaking.
I just brought up my dad so that guy could take a shot.
That was technically the day that we hired Ivan Vargas. When we heard that laugh, I'm like, gotta have him.
Oh my God. Shayne's like, I just want him for the laugh.
No, we're very economical, my family.
I don't even remember doing that, but yes, I did do that.
You did.
You know what now's a good time for?
What is it? Breaking news?
Breaking.
Are we announcing now?
Oh yeah, you can do that. I was gonna start
got
playing
some breaking news for you too.
Go fuck yourself, Phil and Shayne.
Breaking news. The Tape Never Lies Network. Breaking news.
Yes.
No.
You've waited a long time to hear this.
Yes.
And we did put Bratcher out of the show screen because
we didn't share this with our patrons first, like we've been promoting for a month.
Oh, I thought we were sharing it tonight. No,
I thought we were going to announce it to
all
our
right.
patrons.
We'll share
first.
it again.
If you want to know, you better go become a patron at thetapeneverlies.com.
Oh, I forgot about that. Never mind.
Oh, that's the juice, baby. Yo, I feel the juice in my mouth. Yo, the juice in your ass like Florida orange, baby. Yo, pulp free. Hell no, I need the pulp. Need a whole bunch of pulp in that goddamn ass. Yo, get on top of me. I see you, you're on top of me. I can't even see the rest of your body. Your ass is fat. Then you're sitting down, baby, on my face. I'm sucking your pussy and your ass in the same place. You gotta work that ass for daddy. Oh, oh, work that ass. Gotta work that ass for daddy. Your ass is mine, bitch. Your ass is mine. Gonna suck on it.
Get in somebody's ass today.
How did that speed up like that? There it is. Yes. That's going to be back.
Yeah,
coming
can't wait.
Bear up, bear
Segments.
down. How about cut it out? Anybody waiting for that?
It will be not really, but it'll come back.
It's coming
I
back.
can't
Cut
wait.
it up.
Kansas City Chiefs. Cars
Yes.
Keys will be on our TTNL patron. Sign up right there. I love when people ask, how do I become a patron? It's up all show right next to Cherie. TheTapeNeverLies.com right down there. Right under Ivan. There you go. Become a patron. We truly appreciate the support today. Ivan.
Is Barb there, Ivan?
Was she there?
That's why she's standing.
I don't
Is that why
know.
you're standing?
Today, Ivan brought 2 patrons out to camp with him. And I got to shout out our guys because they're bringing them. Obviously, you guys are going with Ron G, Cool Kennedy, Alex Acevedo with his cardboard box of T-shirts, Alan Bratcher. Where is Alan?
Look like a homeless guy.
Gone. He's gone. Alan's not there.
Alan left.
And Lenny.
And Lenny Aponte won
Aponte,
the
yeah.
ticket on his birthday.
That's
I want
awesome.
to shout out
Oh,
Rich Ludwikowski and my guy Mark Huntington. There he is. Bratcher's back. Took a quick. Oh, someone cut him off. Now he's back. Alan's back. They're going out to camp this Friday. You want a TTNL swag t-shirt? Alex will be there. Obviously, you fans have been amazing, as Jackal said, wearing your TTNL swag, shouting out the network. Ivan produced today's little training camp video. Here it is.
Phil and Shayne from the Tape Never Lies Network. I'm David.
I'm Lenny. Go Bears, you're keeping it 100, baby.
Bears training camp. Bear down.
There it is. TTNL Day 2.
Beautiful.
Great
Well
job,
done.
Ivan, capturing that. I'm pretty proud of these guys, Mark Huntington and my guy Lidwikowski, for donating those tickets. Then you guys and Ivan, you stepping up, making sure our patrons were taken out there. Mark and Lenny. How many Lennys?
David and Lenny. David and Lenny.
David, sorry. Mark donated the ticket.
Right, Mark. Yeah. David. Yeah, David. David and Lenny were great, man. No, I got you. David and Lenny were great, man. They were cool guys.
Good time.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. They actually, David. Well, I'm sorry, David.
Yeah.
David was me and Lenny had met up, and then David was like, he came later. So me and Lenny were waiting for him. But then once we met up, it was just a great time. Both of those guys were just willing to participate, wanted to do the promo right away. They were awesome, man. Awesome guys. Actually, Lenny had ended up donating some tickets to me. So we got some tickets coming up that I would probably donate to the network, because I mean I could go, but if nobody else could go, it's going to be the kind of the same deal like it was today, where it's like I could go, but we have, this opportunity for, patrons and fans to do something. So whatever it is, but yeah, he had donated tickets. His friends actually donated tickets. He wanted me to shout them out. Butters, Kev P, and Carbs for donating those preseason Bears tickets to the TTNL Network.
Butters, KP, and Barb.
Kev P and Carbs.
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 Not cars. Yeah, carbs.
It's all about keto. Listen, shout them out just like we did. Lenny, I sent him a link to come on during shout outs, which is coming right now.
Shout out Tape Never Lies. Shout out, I know you hear me, baby. Shout out, I know you see me, baby. Shout out, we gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew, gotta show love too. Shout out, I know you hear me, baby. Shout out, I know you see me, baby. Shout out, we gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew, gotta show love too. From the fans in the stands to the follows on the gram. Thanks for your support, showing love in the DM. We stay Spencer strong, fight together till the end. Now it's time to shout out worldwide friends and fam.
The network that keeps it real, 100 crew. So many in the world that I gotta show love to. For some this part signal show is at its end, but for me it's so important to thank the charter members and the fans. Built the network, speak the truth through the tape. Never run around the truth, no narratives we create. Set them straight, no bubble screen on 4th and 8. Claudio Shayne getting nervous cause keeping them up too late. That's it, no more to say that get the shot of vital. But hurry up cause the postman's getting homicidal.
Shout out, I know you hear me, baby. Shout out, I know you see me, baby. Shout out, we gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew, gotta show love too. Shout out, I know you hear me, baby. Shout out, I know you see me, baby. Shout out, we gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew, gotta show love too.
The network that keeps it real, Spencer Strong.
Yes, we always play that part for Claudio, and I don't know what happened there.
They're one of the best songs.
I was gonna say, hey, is there a whole shout out segment I could have done that on? Or
that's what we were trying to tell you. I saw Shayne's evil eye going up. Cars bounced, came back.
StreamYard kicked me.
Me too. I don't know if you guys saw me bounce out earlier.
Yeah.
It did it to me too.
Bounced me right out. I said it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Speeding up. It did that to you. That did to me too.
I thought my internet was out. I couldn't get back.
Not your fault. Then it said something about Bratcher at the bottom. And
fucking love it.
Yeah. Mine said you got Bratchered.
Listen, before I say any shout outs or pass the mic for you to shout out, I have to say what a tremendous, prideful moment it is for me to watch our peeps go out to camp and having so many fans embrace them. And just, it's very humbling. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I know I speak for Shayne too, because we were talking about it, how amazing it is that you TTNL heads are doing what you're doing, and I can't thank you guys enough. I know Ivan experienced it, Bratcher and Alex Acevedo.
Ryan
now
Cox
today
is starting a campaign there. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it. I was trying to
get cars.
I
to
tried.
Camp. Yeah,
I
Ryan
tried
twice.
Twice.
Cars to camp.
Yeah.
Cars.
It's hard being a working.
It's like getting Shayne to Chicago. It's almost impossible.
He said, "Yeah." Ryan just texted me and said, "Why is Cars being such a pussy about this?" So,
Cars is the same guy.
If you had said like G Willikers instead of pussy or something like that, I would have believed you, because there's no way Ryan Cox is going to talk that way. I'm sorry.
He's got a potty.
Gosh darn it.
I think you honestly would be getting so much attention, you'd get thrown out by Larry Mayer. I'm dead serious.
Probably.
It's Cars.
Go grab lunch.
Can you
with
get
Larry
that tall,
while I'm
pasty
out there.
white boy out of my field, please?
Blocking my view.
Whoa. Well, that is Mr. Casper the Ghost to you, if you don't mind. Not just pasty.
The 7'4" ghost.
Casper-like.
He is a tall human being.
Will Chamberlain ghost. Yeah.
I never realized how tall Cars was until I met him in person. And Cars, we got to get you out to camp, man. What's a good day for you?
It's tough. I've been doing a lot of work. My wife's been working weekends. It's been tricky.
Jackal.
I'm sorry, what? How's that meth going over there, bud?
Jackal is very sneaky with some shit, man. You gotta watch Jackal.
No, I listen, Jackal, of everybody on this thing, I will let Jackal undercut me at any moment, as he said.
I love all of
Yeah, Cherie couldn't make it tonight. Love her.
She actually had to work. Poor girl.
Glad she's feeling better.
How many
She's
hours
off for the
today?
next. She worked today. She's off for the next 3 weeks.
Okay.
I honestly, Cherie is probably,
We
I don't know,
Cherie.
top 10 favorite human beings on the planet. That's how much I think of Cherie. Just a great person. We missed you tonight, Cherie.
You're not gonna take her out at the knees like Claudio did to Dionne Miller, and one of the best.
One of the best.
Dude.
I'm kidding.
Listen, yeah. She is great.
We live and we learn.
So is
Claudio.
Herb Howard. So is
Claudio didn't even realize that he was brought up on the pop-up show with Greg's mom.
I know. Yeah, he saw it because he wrote
got
to
it.
us.
It
He's
was
like,
hilarious.
I'm on the fucking couch, you assholes.
Exactly. I watched
And
it.
you
Trust
blamed
me.
him. Claudio actually watches the show.
I watch sometimes.
Listen, that pop-up show was a lot of fun. I enjoyed putting that little open piece together, capturing some of the fun stuff. I'm also trying to show Alan Bratcher how to do it. That's how I want it done. I want the.
I'll show you the copyright claim after the show too.
What first? Stacy's mom's got it going on that part.
There's 2 of them in there. I'm like, oh, only Phil.
The Funkster Jones part. That's
No.
I just that
There's the
won't
second
go.
part.
What part?
There's the second
The
part.
Tommy
I'll
Boy
show you.
thing?
No, it won't be that. There'll be 2 of them.
He sees it and he instantly knows.
Oh my
It's just
God,
like,
Shayne.
fuck.
Yep.
I thought there was
The other one just got done yesterday. Just got done from last time. That's how slow it is now through YouTube. It's fucking horrific.
Don't even waste your time with it. It's not like it's an abuse thing. It's like 11 seconds of a fucking clip.
Oh, I know,
song.
but it's good to get it out of there.
Unless that dragon was fucking a goat.
Dude,
funny
Frank
when you
was
shorten
fucking
it like
on
that.
one tonight, boy. Oh.
Yeah, he was.
What's that? Do you
Frank
think
was
that
on one tonight. Shot
Rank
out of
was
a cannon.
Oh,
Rank was angry with Dionne. If we brought them both together, would there have been a debate about this? Did you feel that? Like he
I
was
think there would have been
upset?
fireworks. Yeah, I agree.
Shayne?
Do I think that there would have been fireworks between those two? No, I don't think Rank would have went there. But
No, he was just fired up with her, though.
it's just, I get it. Everybody's,
He felt
you're
different.
waiting
He did.
for that moment. And Dionne is right, Phil. You and I have talked about it, and I understand there's going to be bumps in the road. This isn't everybody looks at this team and wants it to be better. This isn't the fucking blueprint of what Ryan Poles wants. You know, this is his first foray into this, but Dionne is 100% right. I turn on other teams' games and I'm like, that don't look like what we're doing at all. Not at all. You turn it on, you see 3-4 big fucking plays in the first half, and I'm like, holy shit. You get 3 or 4 big plays in a fucking season as a Bears fan, if you're lucky. And you rewind them and you're like, oh man, that's so fucking dope. And then whatever, they clean house and sign some shitty free agent. But the passion is there, the want is there. It's just, unfortunately, I think we have to wait a little bit longer. I think Ivan's right. This is a team that may get punched in the fucking mouth a couple of times early on. But you know what? If we're into week fucking 11, week 12, week 13, and you see this team starting to gel together, you see Justin Fields taking that leap, that's going to be a team nobody wants to fucking play. And you know the best part about that is going into the offseason with that positive momentum and $120 million in cap space and a first-round draft pick. So that's how you turn that's how you turn yourself around quickly.
Great point. Tonight was a fun night, getting you ready. Second day of pads. You always define who you are with pads. We didn't really get to do the David Montgomery interview, which I wanted to kind of show for us, but they didn't put it up on they put it on their app, but they didn't put it on their YouTube. It was very powerful. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. And to Shayne's point there, I just think, how do you respond to getting punched in the face is going to be the story of this team, because things are going to be unknowns to start the game. You could beat San Francisco. You could go out there and you say you're crazy. No, you start running the ball and gelling, you could beat that. How do you handle adversity? That's going to be it. It starts in the preseason. I think the victory lap before, I know I said before we shouted out, but I think this one last point is what Shayne pointed out. Coach Eberflus defining, no, they're going to play, meaning the starter. This isn't Billy Wonka with all these other motherfucking fraud pods telling me
Billy
that
Wonka?
fucking
What?
Billy
Out of
Wonka.
your fucking class.
Billy Wonka and the frauds.
Billy
saying,
Wonka and the
it
butter
doesn't matter.
Factory. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they play. It's a new NFL, Shayne and Phil. Shut.
You know how I feel about stats. Really, stats are for losers.
It's new NFL. You don't know what you're talking. Matt Nagy's a genius.
Can somebody get
Other kids don't-
Acevedo on a Billy Wonka TTNL jersey?
Billy Wonka is
jersey
a
for
fraudulent
TTNL
podcaster. That's all. Billy Wonka. Anyway, Eberflus is playing his starters. That's all I want to hear.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yes.
Reps are. You can't stand there and say reps are important. Not give them reps. What the
No
fuck is that?
surprises.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever saw. But it happened here. Anyway, Claudio, the barber. You got
We're gonna start with me. Yeah, I'll
Yes,
do it real
sure.
quick. Obviously, you said it before. Shout out to Ivan, Alex, Alan. You guys did a great job over there. I'm jealous. Wish I was over there. Maybe next year. Shout out to all you guys. I mean, this night is awesome as always. And Dionne, Adam was just hilarious. He was the man. And shout out to the NFL for appealing. I'll just leave it at that. All right.
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
Alan Bratcher.
AB.
How do I even
I
follow?
got it up. I'm sorry, I had it.
No, man.
It made me
You know
happy.
where I'm at. So,
Yeah.
shout out first and foremost, Adam Rank killed it tonight. Absolutely loved listening to him. I watched him today on NFL Network. I watched how they kind of all went after him. I completely understand why he felt the way he felt tonight, because it looked like it was just a big grudge match against him just because he picked Justin Fields, and he stood up for us the way no one else does. That's why he's the people's champ. He's the man. Adam Rank, thank you for that. Appreciate that. And the fans, and I didn't really get to say it last show a whole lot, but I gotta say the fans that were at camp, tremendous job. I was blown away how many fans that actually came up to us, running up to us, say, "Hey guys, we love you," blah blah blah. Shout out to you guys. I cannot wait to go there Friday again, man. Can't wait to see you guys. Let's get it. That's it.
Great job. You're going to be there Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's just 2 days away, 2 naps away for Shayne.
Almost there.
Yeah.
So
the baby's sleeping, Shayne. That's a great
How many naps is that, Shayne?
Yeah.
How many naps is that for you? Like maybe one?
Shayne needs sleep, I'll tell you that.
Cars. Got any shout outs, Cars?
Hi, Cars.
Yeah, I just have one. Aubrey turns 8 this week, so we've got this weekend.
Nice.
So we have her birthday coming up. So shout out to my girl who finally, after years of fighting, also got up on 2 wheels, no training wheels, and I will take it. Thanks for zooming in on Chris Jackal, who I guess is my doppelganger. So
Apparently, another undercut right there.
The edible hour.
Edible hour.
I thought you were going to shout out.
It's me again. Awesome.
I thought you were going to shout him out, God.
Well, that's another breaking news. The Edible Hour with Jackal and Cars coming soon to the network, where we just play house music, eat edibles, and really just talk about whatever gets on our mind.
Claudio is a big
get in
house
on that.
music fan.
Glow
bro.
sticks.
I used to
Don't
go to.
get him going.
I love house
He
music.
had the sticks. He had it
Claudio
all,
with the
bro.
glow sticks, yeah?
I didn't do the
Claudio had
pacifiers. I never did the pacifiers, but I did.
No,
Oh,
he
yeah, I
didn't.
bet.
I don't even know how
He
that
did
was
do
a
the
thing.
Jello shots.
Yeah, you
I
just,
got
you
it
just
up.
snorted.
Oh yeah.
Snorting. No.
I mean,
Claudio stayed
Should've played
away
on
from
balls.
that shit.
I did.
Let's see. Who do we go to? Ivan or Jackal, Cars? Who do you want to pass it to?
you always.
Oh,
I mean,
we gotta go.
since we sprayed our love of Brisker all over the wall of fame here.
Please don't say that again. Yeah,
I saved that
so
one
makes
for
me
you.
There
so
it is.
uncomfortable.
I love all
Figured out what it meant.
I love
Now
Brisker.
you know. Now you know, Claudio.
His Cars look like he has a wig on right in that shot.
he does.
It does kind of, doesn't it?
There,
I thought that too. I
It
had to do
looked
a
like a
double take.
wig for a second.
I know it's edible hour, but shit, Cars, come
The
on.
way you leaned into the screen it totally looked like
He
a
has
toupee.
like gelled
You
hair.
said you got
George
like afro
and
sheen
Sam.
on it.
No,
too. Like,
up,
it's like
right there.
glistening.
Right
Listen,
there.
I'm letting my soul glow right now. I'm letting this
I love
soul
all
glow. We're just gonna do this.
You got
Jackal,
that.
go.
Jackal, of course.
Hey, I want to shout out you guys. Great show tonight. Dionne Miller and Adam Rank, 2 fantastic guests. Always a pleasure to when they come on, but they both delivered. Adam was definitely firing all cylinders tonight, so it was fun to watch him kind of get after it in a little different way. He's a little more reserved when his kids are around, so it was kind of nice to see.
Yep.
You got a big week, guys, keep killing it. Ivan, Alan, you guys are doing a fucking great job at camp, sending amazing footage. Fans absolutely love that shit, so keep up the great work. And to everybody else out there, be a friend, tell a friend, and reach out to somebody that you're thinking about. Tell them you're thinking about them. Take care.
Well said, bro. Well said. Be a friend, tell a friend. Shout out segment here at TTNL, sponsored by Claudio's Coke Zero.
Shout out Brian.
Get
Chance.
Claudio's Coke Zero.
Brian Chance, you're the man.
Brian
You're
Ivan
Chance,
Vargas.
sir. Yes.
Your shout out.
Great one.
Yeah, I'll just keep it the same. My bad for jumping the gun earlier, but I'll keep it the same. Two guys that I met today, the two patrons, David and Lenny. Pleasure to meet you guys. And then, of course, Len's buddies who donated the tickets to us, Butters, Kev P, and Carbs. We appreciate it. Lenny was trying, like they're very into it, just like us. We're just chopping it up, talking football, shooting the shit, just about life in general. It was just a great time with them, with those guys. So I'm looking forward to this preseason game, and looking forward to Friday to meet up with, Alex and Bratcher again, and then of course
tomorrow
Kennedy.
You're gonna be meeting up with Adam Rank tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's right, Adam.
Yeah,
That's right.
Go for pizza.
I will be meeting Adam up tomorrow. Yeah, once.
Too bad Alan Bratcher's on house arrest. He can't get out.
Can't do it. I work tomorrow.
And Adam too. So Adam tomorrow. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Don't worry, Cars would snub you, Adam. Cars snubbed Eric Kramer. It was his idol. He loved Eric Kramer.
Or Eric.
Although Cars did come out.
We got to get
TTNL
Steve Stenstrom
party.
on the show. Cars would go then.
Steve Stenstrom, holy shit.
Are you kidding? If you get Henry vertigo-inducing Burris, I am all in.
Oh, man. Henry Burris. I had hope for a minute. Then the game started. How was that?
He was playing the
that was on a night
Tampa Bay
game.
Bucks. Yeah, they're
Yeah, it was at a night game. We couldn't even move across the 50 that night, right?
God. No.
Oh my
I don't
God.
think they got across it once. Yeah. You did have a big
Obscure
arm.
bear. I was trying. I had an obscure bear receiver in my head, and I just
Devin Aroma Shadu.
No, I did like Devin Aroma.
Macy Brooks.
Macy Brooks.
Fabian
Bones. Fabian Bones, man. Fabian Bones. How about that dude? He always dropped the ball for us. Then he goes to the Packers. All of a sudden, he can catch everything. Fuck. Brooks? Is that his last name? Yeah.
For who now?
Anyway. Morgan Brooks. Was that his name? Anyway. Shayne,
Jordan?
your
No,
shout out.
I am not Jay Chillin.
That's all that I had to put that up.
Gives that mustache.
Yeah, I got a couple of them here.
Nice.
One of them's a little bit different and not even football related, but I want to shout out first and foremost our guy Sammy the Bull. He's been going through it, dealing with some medical issues. He's bouncing back a little bit, but can never forget our guys. When they need us, send out those positive thoughts because they work. I've seen it with my son, seen it with Phil's family, Ryan Cox's family. Doesn't matter what you believe in or who you pray to or what you do. Send some positivity somebody's way, and it helps. So Sammy, you're in our thoughts for sure. Can't wait to get you back. See you at the games, meet you in Chicago this year. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. My other one is different. I know you guys will probably bag on me, but a big part of my youth growing up, my father was a huge baseball fan. That was a huge part of his life. He made me a Dodgers fan. My dad started out as a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, later became a Los Angeles Dodgers fan, and I spent thousands of hours at our house listening to my dad's clock radio, pretending like I was sleeping, listening in my dad's room as my dad would listen to the Dodgers games with us being on the East Coast. Dodgers baseball starts at 10:35 p.m. So it was always a late night. When I was 5, 6, 7 years old, my parents would never let me stay up that late. But I would always fall asleep to Vin Scully talking Dodgers baseball on my dad's clock radio. I can still hear it to this day. And when I saw that he passed last night, it really affected me just as a person. Called my dad immediately, and we, shared some stories back and forth about Vinny over the years. He just had that soothing voice, and I always remember him saying, broadcasting a game, sometimes the best thing that you can do is just to shut your mouth, and you can feel the crowd, listen to the crowd, and sometimes the best thing to say is not to say anything at all. So, rest in peace, Vinny. You were the best in the business, the best that there ever will be. Rest well. It's a big part of my youth and my, my adult years lost when he passed away, but he can't complain about anything. 94 years. A lot of people aren't lucky enough to see that. And you talk about leading a blessed life, working for the Brooklyn and Los Angeles Dodgers for 67 years, doing the same thing and broadcasting the game that you love, thinking about everything that he has seen over his life. It's truly unbelievable. And when we say that we go beyond football here, we do. It's just those little snippets of our life growing up that are worth sharing. So I wanted to give Vin Scully a shout out. Led a great life, and he's a guy that I think everybody should strive to be as a human being. So rest well, Vin.
He also broadcasted in the NFL for quite a few years too.
He did everything.
He broadcasted
all
the
sports.
catch too. He's the one who
Yep.
made the catch call.
Yep, he did everything.
He's a legend, man. Great guy.
Yeah, those voices that carry your sports fandom as a child. Mine was John Madden. For you, it was Scully. And I could still hear Phil Rizzuto calling Yankee games when I was a kid as my family watched them. But yeah, legend. Well said.
Yep. Also,
my shout out to this, obviously Dionne Miller. I truly love Dionne, and just a tremendous human being who supports the network. Came on with swag. She was rocking her Keepin It 100 TTNL. How many media members do that? Two of them that were on tonight do that stuff, and that really means a lot. Shout her out. Adam Rank, obviously, I think everybody knows the special place in my heart that Adam has. From jump, Adam Rank and I had hit it off, and his support for Shayne and myself and this network was instant. Once we started the network, he was the very first guest, and he was the very first person to reach out to me. Whatever you need, man, and has never refrained from that. It says a lot, and you could tell, he talks a lot, but I like to listen to him talk a lot. He's a great dude, and he always will slip in the Tape Never Lies network. I mean, that's another thing. A lot of these guys.
He wore a shirt on.
He wore it on Total Access.
I think it was a fantasy show.
Yeah. No, he did it on Total Access.
Oh, did he do it on Total Access?
Yeah, and he wear the shades, and he totally did a skit. It was great. He's a great human being. But those two tonight, obviously, great show as we get you ready for camp and the Chicago Bears preseason. I got to shout out my guy Bullets. I know he's in the chat, but this guy just does nice things. I mean, I haven't opened the gift that he sent, but just for me and my wife's anniversary, he sent a gift. Those types of things, I'm sorry, I can't not say thank you. And he's a big TTNL head and supporter of truth.
Keeping receipts too.
Keeping 100.
Very loyal.
Give me an email address.
Halzinma in Germany. I gotta shout my guy out. We gotta get him on the show. He got to meet play out there in NFL, like big fan of football over in Germany. Met Austin Carter Samuels, and hopefully we can get the two of them on the show at some point to promote what it is they're doing over there in Germany for a lot of these fans. I got to shout out my guy Jared Perry. I see him in the chat. Moski reaching out to me. HL Priest, Jesse Beltran, Dave Davesdale, and obviously Len. I tried to get Len on the show tonight to talk about his experience. My guy Sandy Tom from Scotland across the pond.
Gotta get Sandy back on.
We gotta get Sandy on.
Love that dude.
dude is a tremendous supporter. Trent Emery wrote such a great letter to me and Shayne about our town hall show and what it takes to actually stand up for truth and what it meant to him as a person. That to me is why we do this. And thank you, Trent, for your kind words and understanding that the truth is the thing that you stand for, not a narrative or optics. It's a hard thing to embrace and to talk about, but it's certainly a thing that needed to be said because everybody's telling different sides of different stories. That'll be my little mini rant. I'm sure I'm going to say a lot more about that as the season goes on. Andy Cromer, thank you for helping them out. Will Mookie Hill,
Andy,
happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yes, he's on my list here.
We had big plans for Will tonight.
We did.
They fell apart last minute.
Yep. Last minute fall apart. Chris Bowditch, over across the pond, huge supporter of TTNL. Ray Morris, Brennan McElrath. We're trying to get you on the show, Brennan. Tony Terry, always supporting us. And how can I not thank Funkster Jones for his pride and passion? As you saw, I built the promo around him because he's such a great supporter of what we do here. That's authentic. That's the real deal. That's him. Like, you have something you want to say or be on the show, shoot it. Send the video to me. Send it to Jacko or Ivan. Shoot it. We'll see what you got. Get you on the show. All of you guys, and of course, all of the guys that went in the video. Mike and Carter, that you guys filmed over there, being authentic about their love. Thank you, Mike and Carter. I truly appreciate it. Mr. What was his name? Jordan Thomas?
Oh, Jalen Thomas.
Jalen Thomas. I kept messing. Jalen, I apologize. Jalen Thomas. You see him wearing his Justin Fields shirt, promoting TTNL and people to watch. All of you that were in those videos, obviously Lenny and Dave today. Mark and Lenny. I keep calling you Dave, Mark. All of you guys. I'm sorry I gotta be long on my shout outs because I'm the kind of guy that doesn't want to miss out on anybody. Cam, obviously, Bill Robbins, and so many of you guys that deserve a shout out tonight, but I'm getting that look. Vito, I gotta shout him out though. Always standing up for TTNL.
You're gonna shout these people out. They're on. Oh, you deleted it. Shout them out. Shout them out.
God,
they're on here all the time. Shout
they want that, Claudio.
I'm just
use your head.
More than usual.
Use your head.
Nope.
They're on here.
Cut it out.
That's like Claudio. We got to do a cut it out with Claudio and Bratcher, Shayne.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Bratcher, let's do it.
Listen.
I was born ready.
We will be back next week. We have who, Claudio, next week?
Oh, we got the barber.
The barber. That's right.
Yes, sir.
The actual barber of the Chicago Bears, my boy, Lawrence Funk.
Lawrence Funk.
Come on and maybe
making a return.
Give a little inside info. We'll see, but he's the man. The dude is an awesome guy. So
Lawrence Funk will be on next week, and maybe another surprise guest.
I love all that.
I'm getting a hold on. I don't know if this is breaking news. Is it a firm commitment? Okay.
Shayne.
Go fuck yourself, Phil and Shayne.
There you go. Barb.
There you go, Brags.
I'll be there soon, Barb.
There's the shout out.
Listen, that's the shout out. We'll be back again this weekend, breaking down training camp on the patron side. Another pop-up show where we're going to take your questions, answer them, have a lot of fun. We got the guys going out to camp on Friday, so we're going to have a lot to talk about. Pay attention to your updates, and we'll tell you exactly when that show on Patreon's going to start. Obviously,
I got it up.
The tape will be coming out soon. And once we get the tape, we'll be breaking down all of it. We're already breaking down some of the tape today that we could see when Ivan zooms in, right, Jackal? Gotta have Ivan zooming in on there. I'm gonna
the best piece of advice of the day.
Gotta zoom in. Hopefully, Bratcher, Acevedo, Cool
Got my
Kennedy,
Bragg's notes, so
Ron G. will all have their zooms and cameras, and we'll get some angles. And hopefully, Larry Mayer doesn't point any of you out. Get him out.
The lady that was pointing us out, well, she wasn't really pointing us out. She was doing her job. I'll give her credit. She was just security doing her job.
God.
But she had mentioned, hey, one time, don't do this, like don't take pictures or whatever. But to be nice, she wasn't coming up those stairs. Like, I'll just say that. She wasn't coming up those
just
stairs.
lip service at that point.
So I was like, all right, I just ducked back.
You got a sandwich, you're saying?
They had like a little tarp or something that has like bears on the side of it. I just ducked behind that and did my thing. So,
well, we're gonna be going out. If you want to get some swag,
yeah,
from the swag man, TTNLswag.com. I've already seen the first edition of Give Me Some Fucking Names t-shirt, and I gotta say, I'm fucking excited about it. It's gonna be up in there in our swag shop, a bunch of other stuff that we're building, a TTNL established tee, all of this stuff. Anything you guys
give me
have,
some fucking names. Give this kid 2 fucking games. Give me some fucking names.
Well, Teven Jenkins might be one of the names that we're giving. That was going to be obviously a lot to talk about throughout the season. For Claudio the Barber, the moderator, the Barber moderator, Alan Bratcher, who doesn't appear in the rap song, nor does Ivan, nor does Chris Jackal, but Shayne does. For all of them, I'm your guy, Draft Dr. Phil. We'll see you next week with Lawrence Funk and a lot of Bears talk. Tomorrow night, there's football, baby. It's the greatest game in the world. Check it out. Hall of Fame game. All of you going to be watching it?
I will.
Yeah.
Yes, great stuff. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Here we go.
Chicago's trading up.
100.
Yes!
What?
Here it is!
Or just reported.
I love all that.
Keeping it 100. The people drop off, but we still keep rocking.
I know we need to run the ball more. I'm not an idiot.
I can only imagine the smells coming in that thing.
Keeping it 100.
Then let me do what I had to do. Open competition.
Keeping it 100.
The smartest man.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields.
I know we need to run the ball more. I'm not an idiot.
Let's grow curls, curls, curls.
Keeping it 100.
Open competition.
Keeping it 100.
The smartest man.
My Chicago
Give me a tackle or give me that.
Quarterback, Ohio State.
I think he can get up and go faster than a guy like David Montgomery.
Nope.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Nope. I'm a born American boy.
I know we need to run the ball more.
The number one beer show on the planet.
Get in somebody's ass today. Fuck yourself.
Keeping it 100.
One time.
Open competition. Keeping it 100.
The smartest man.
What?
Keeping it 100.
32 is the identity of your football. This has been a mystery for this shoe salesman for years.
Don't come on our fucking show trying to be a pretentious fucking dickhead.
Really, stats of a loser.
Bill, could you hear me? This is your dad speaking. Because it's going to show right up in that film, boy. Faith never lies.
Prediction? Yes, prediction.